Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
The Madness Entertainment Group presents the Madness Comic Network with original programming and additional comic-related content. Tune in and subscribe to Comic Talk with Pops Van Zant on YouTube.
We've all heard the stories. We've all heard the legends. Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, Billy the Kid. But there's a secret history to the Old West. One that seems too strange to be true, but, well, we all know what they say about the truth. Very big ape, very big guns, very big holes, very bad people. I think the world is finally ready to hear the story of the strangest, the most startling Western hero of them all. Six-gun gorilla, long days of vengeance.
Bringing you sex, sass, and style. Buckle up and unlock your imagination for a fun adventure with these death-dealing dames. They sail the galaxy in search of spoils. The most dangerous acquisition, and the most fruitful, are the legendary Splinters of Yggdrasil. The Splinters are magical artifacts forged from the Tree of Life that wreak havoc on the universe. The missions are perilous, but the bounty is glorious. Enjoy our hyper-fictional wonderland. How is a pirate ship sailing through space? 'Cause magic. How do they heal so quickly after battle? 'Cause magic. How are they able to communicate through jewelry? 'Cause magic. It's all about the characters. Abo, rough, robotic, ready. Mo, carefree, callous, courageous. Mistress Graven, daring, diplomatic, dominating. Betsy, academic, accountable, aristocratic. Nefara, ancient, assured, adrenaline junkie. Bruto, proud, prominent, protective. Fisty, independent, incendiary, invigorating. Roxy, superficial, scarred, secretive. Once you get to know this diverse crew of mythical miscreants, you'll be anxious to find out what trouble they'll get into on the next episode. Go to abogrizzly.com and order both halves of the first episode today.
Welcome to Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your den of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Cosmic Comic, Games and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
Hi everyone, Jason Hunt here, inviting you to join us every Saturday morning for news, the week's headlines in science fiction, fantasy, horror, comic books, video games, plus Comic-Con updates and the weather, and the occasional interview along the way. We call it Good Morning Multiverse. We hope you join us every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central, right here on Sci-Fi for Me TV.
The Madness Entertainment Group presents the Madness Comic Network with original programming and additional comic-related content. Tune in and subscribe to Comic Talk with Pops Van Zandt on YouTube.
Your favorite podcast, it's Critical Plus.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Hart Fisher. Welcome back to comics, Hart. I know
it's good to be back, man. It's a weird thing to say because, frankly, when I left the industry in 2004, I was pretty burned out and I was pretty tired. And frankly, the industry was in a shambles back then. You know, the direct market had collapsed and a lot of my friends were struggling. And now it seems like there's been a rebound. And I think that has a lot to do with crowdfunding.
Yeah, crowdfunding has, it's a renaissance in all this. It's a revolution. And we didn't even have to get the guillotines out. Of course, you know, revolution's still young. But
well, I don't know. It seems like sometimes they're trying to cut Ethan Van Sciver's head off.
This is true. This is very true. Well, you know, that'll be difficult because, you know, the holes on those guillotines are only so round, and getting Ethan's head through it might be. I'm kidding.
Oh, no. We used to make jokes like that about myself. Like, hold on, let me turn my big fucking head to the side here so I get through this doorway.
Oh no, I love Ethan. I love all of them. Man, crazy night on Twitter tonight. So if your computer's running slow, it's because Twitter's draining all the power in the world right now.
Oh no, just I had internet problems, and I've been plagued with Wi-Fi and internet problems in my home that I moved into last year. I mean, we've had floods, we've had so much crazy stuff happen. I've almost been electrocuted. And so I'm looking into moving the office into a new space because we had a bunch of merchandise destroyed. And now I'm just like, I can't even do I haven't been able to do a single podcast without major interruptions out of that house. And so here I am in my girlfriend's lovely living room. So I'm sorry if I'm a little late, RJ.
Well, don't you miss it when, you know, evil spirits just stuck with like bleeding walls and stuff coming up out of your toilet? No, now they've gone for electrical interference, and that's just annoying.
Well, we've had a lot of ghosty experiences in my career shooting, and The house I lived in Los Angeles was haunted. The house I lived in Williams Bay, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin here was haunted. The place that I'm in now, definitely, the people that were renting it or living in there before me, my landlord, he had seen some apparitions and such, and they were kind of nervous about that. They said that they had this problem anytime they turned their salt lamps off. They had those Himalayan salt lamps. My friend Trike calls them Himalayan sex lamps.
I'm aware of those. Yeah. It's apparitions are scary. We've had those in my old house. My ex, my son was like 8, 9 years old at the time, I want to say. And he had one of these beds. It was like a pirate ship kind of. It was like off the ground and made out of this plastic molded stuff, and it was a bitch to put together. Looks
it was
really
a
cute.
bitch to put together.
Oh yeah, looks real cute until it's time to change the sheets, Dad. Then it's like you're bending, reaching up over and digging in. But she was putting his clothes away, and she saw something about yay big jump up into his bed and then off and out the other side of it. And she's like, that was a shadow. That was nothing. And as soon as she's saying that, my son's like, what was that? And they went over to the other side of the bed, and there was nothing there. It was just this shadowy lump that was about the size of a raccoon and gone.
Well, Max DeVille went looking for spooky stuff, Max from Atrocity Press. And so Max and I do a company get together. Max as a business owner and I have teamed up on a lot of stuff, and he's really enabled me to, he's been instrumental in maintaining the American Horror's Roku channel. And so Max and I get together. We try to get together like once every year for a week so that we could like not have family, not have anything, and just like brainstorm and hang out and you know what I mean? And see what the next step is for us and where we could work together. And so he never had any ghosty shit happen till he started hanging out with me. So ask about it. Next time he's on your show, ask, Max, like, hey, I hear some haunted stuff has happened over by Hart. And he'll tell you, like, when we were doing the show with Pops Van Zandt last weekend on, like, I think it was Sunday, and we just had a nightmare. And Max is like, oh, yeah, his house is fucked. Pretty funny.
There's a show for AmericanHorrors.net. You and Max just visiting haunted houses and recording stuff.
Well, we do have a paranormal show called Mission Terror, and I think the guys do a really good job. We have a couple episodes that have not been put on the air. I'm going to be running it from the first season on American Horror's Classic for anybody at home who's a Billie Eilish fan. Billie Eilish grew up next door to me, as did her brother Phineas and their dad Patrick and their mom Maggie. So I've known these guys for a long time, and they did work. Billie acted in some of my productions for American Horrors. So when you watch the American Horrors TV show and you hear the die, and there's a girl with bloody butter knife and little girls with bloody feet, that's all Billie Eilish and my neighbor's kids, Ira, Peter's boys. I always forget one of the guys' name. I'm so sorry, Peter. I'm not good with that. I'm really not good with kids' names at all. But Billy and Finney grew up like right next door to me. So I saw those kids all the time. They were homeschooled. They were around. So anybody who wants to see what a 7-year-old Billy looks like playing death in a music video, I've got Heard the Humans making of Hollow, which is the video she's in, the music video. And there's a lot of behind the scenes footage with her father, lots of cool stuff with her acting in this. And that's playing twice a day on American Horror's Classic for free for the rest of the week. So in fact, I'll probably keep it up for next week just because I want the fans to be able to see it. It's totally free. Go to your Roku, install your Roku. And I believe that most smart TVs have a Roku. And it's my understanding that there's a way to install Roku on your Amazon Fire Stick too.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that one out because my roommate has an Amazon Fire Stick and she has everything on it, and I don't know how. But
well, ask her about it. See if she could get the Roku app, and then you guys could stream both American Horror's channels. Like before I came on the interview, what was I doing, guys? I was programming both networks. I was sitting there as fast as I could, blasting, because I do the programming myself. I physically do it, sit down and figure out, okay, this commercial goes into this commercial. This Boy Scout ad is going to go into this XXX beer ad. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's exactly what I do. And I have my own sense of humor. So these TV networks are unlike any other TV channel you've really seen, unless you saw like a really great UHF channel back in the 70s and 80s.
I saw somebody, it's December, so I saw somebody riff on one of the old Folgers commercials. And apparently this was a rerun. I had never seen it before. I had seen the original commercial before, and they start with that. It was the one where, you know, the older brother comes home for Christmas and the sister answers the door, and, you know, it's all, you're here, and they're still in bed, mom and dad. She makes the coffee, and he's like, I brought you this all the way from West Africa. She pulls the bow off, puts it on him. He's like, what's this say? You're my gift this year. And then the parents, you know, have made it into the room where they cut, and then they have replacement actors who look very close to the original Folgers actors. And they're like, we told you not to come home. We sent you to West Africa for a reason. You two shouldn't be together. You're brother and sister. Nobody
Oh my God.
don't look at each other like that.
Oh my God, that's so good. Because we have a show like that called Riffhead. And it's supposed to play on Friday nights. But, you know, one of the things is sometimes you get a really great show and you want to play it every Friday night, but we've only got 6 episodes in the can. So that can get old really fast. So if anybody goes, hey, Hart, how come Riffhead isn't on every single Friday? I'm like, guys, I'm doing you a favor. I really work hard to avoid burning our content out. Like our show Gorecast, it plays that season, and then generally I don't play it. Like I don't rerun the shit out of it. You know what I mean? Because it keeps it fresh. And so on American Horror's Classic, I'm playing a lot of the old stuff that I haven't played, and it's the stuff that my wife played on her channel, my late wife Wakako. And so she ran the other channel, I ran the Roku channel. And so that's what American Horror's Classic is it's like a throwback to what she was doing. And it's more than that, because she fucking did more than just schedule it. She was a graphic designer, she was a singer, she did a lot of the bumpers and promos. She was my editor with me. Like we cut so many of these shows together. We shot a lot of these shows together. So it's kind of my way to keep her alive, you know? And it's the same thing with like coming back to comic books. My mom was having brain surgery in 2020, the summer of 2020. And that summer was crazy, obviously. And everybody thought the comic industry was going to end. And I didn't know if my mom was going to make it out alive. And at one point, there was a complication during the recovery of her brain surgery. And luckily, I showed up at my childhood home to go have dinner with her at the exact right moment to save her life. So with that in mind, that's a big part of why I came back to comic books. It's why I did Buildable first. And it's the Dahmer thing happened because of Netflix. Yeah, because of the Netflix special. Go ahead, RJ.
They kind of pushed you into it, didn't they? That was that was messed up.
Yeah, we've been thinking about it a lot. You know, I've had time to process it. The very first time that I found out, like people are like, "Hey man, have you seen the Netflix Dahmer special?" And it happened right after I had a cancer scare this summer. I had a bad cancer scare with a lump growing in my back, and it dude, you know, I thought, fuck, is this game over? You know what I mean? And I thought, well, what do you want to do with yourself? What do you want? And then bang, the Dahmer thing hit on Netflix. And I canceled this year's American Horror's Film Festival to focus on finishing Bill the Bull and getting Bill the Bull done. But the Dahmer thing, since they shit on me, since they shit on the books, since they Photoshop altered the books in an attempt to steal the glory and the notoriety of my work and my artist's work, who really went through the ringer. You guys are trying to take credit for something you didn't pay for. You're like a shoplifter in the store going, well, it's mine now because, you know, we hate the cops now. So it's
5 tenths or whatever.
Yeah, it's been a thing where they threw me under the bus. So, and there was really no reason to. Like, I don't think they really needed to include my work or my books in the special. I've seen it now. Now I had to watch this. I didn't want to watch this. I've had a lot of people that I love die. I don't really want to sit down and watch a 10-episode thing about Dahmer, but they kind of made me. I had to. I legally
I haven't seen it. And I probably have no intention of seeing it. I saw the clip where, and it wasn't even a clip, it's just a still of them holding the book with the modified artwork. But as I understand it, they showed everything you did without saying Hart D. Fisher anywhere in their dialogue. So they didn't have anybody portray you. They just had people talk about that guy. I mean, how did they pull this off? And how long?
I kind of believe that if you're going to paint me in the role of bad guy, you got to keep your audience ignorant of who I am. It's easier for you to paint me as a bad person if you don't know that during the Dahmer stuff, my girlfriend was raped and murdered. If you do not know that my girlfriends before her were raped, if you did not know I was a victim of violent crime, it's a lot harder to portray me. If you're ignorant of those things, then it's easy for them to go, well, he's just an insensitive asshole. He doesn't know anything about this. What does he know about suffering? What does he know about any of this stuff? And it's a lot easier for them to paint me in the role that they need for their narrative, because what they did is they project every criticism they had about those comic books was what they were doing. So they were projecting their own sin upon me because I was kind of defenseless. I didn't have a TV network. I didn't have a voice. I was fresh out of college. And now here we are 30 years later, and you've got the biggest goddamn independent company throwing me under the bus again for no real reason, because everybody knows now. People all know the contents of the book. They all know that nothing in those books is what they portray it as, nothing. And the only way for me to defend myself is to bring these books back into print. And I let them go. I let them go on purpose. People have been bothering me to bring, and I say bother because I have a lot of emotional issues with this book. So for myself, it's a tremendously emotional experience to bring them back into print. To see yourself damned again right after your mother died. My mom just died last year, and I'm still mourning her, and I'm still dealing with, like, I'm cleaning out her car, I'm cleaning out her bedroom and stuff. I'm still dealing with all that. I'm still like getting my late wife's clothes out of the house. I'm dealing with a lot of death. I'm dealing with the death of my TV host, Groovy. It's been haunting me. And a lot of my other friends have all died the last couple of years. So they really kind of kicked a sleeping dog, and they shouldn't have. They made a big mistake. They really made a big mistake. And if they think I'm too small for me to take them on, they're deadly wrong. And Disney has dealt with me before. O.J. Simpson has dealt with me before. And I'm the only comics creator to ever beat Marvel Comics in court. And I've been into court over a lot of things. When you're in entertainment, you have to have a pit bull for a lawyer, and you got to defend your copyrights and your entertainment properties and your intellectual properties vociferously. So I think that they're terrified of somebody discovering the American Horror Channel. Haven't you noticed that there's been a complete media blackout about my television network, even though I have a comparable audience to them?
I never
8 million viewers with an average watch time of 32 minutes per viewer is pretty goddamn good. Yeah. And the network is just growing and growing. People are so excited to have me back into comics. So in a way, they kind of made my mind up because people wanted me to crowdfund Dahmer first. And I felt, no. If I'm coming back to comics, I got to do it because it's out of love, because I love comics, because I grew up reading comic books since I was 5. And that's a big part of Dahmer is I've been remastering the book, right? So the book's all scanned into the computer. I've been going through everything and reading everything. It's goddamn good. It's good. It's really good. And that's even more.
You did that. I mean, did you have the original pages, or did you have to take a book and disassemble it and scan it and clean it?
Well, I had some of the original pages, but I didn't have the lettering.
Okay.
You get what I mean? So I didn't have the hand lettering, and I didn't have the original films, because we're talking 30 years ago. The original Jeffrey Dahmer biography book was published in March 1992. Yeah. That's crazy.
Long time back. God.
It is
a long time back. In a way, it feels like last week. But
well, the producer of this Dahmer series knows me, knows who I am, and has swiped from me in the past. And if you look at the title, it's called Monster: The Jeffrey Dahmer Story. Well, that's a swipe right off of a Monster, the Alicia Wermo story, which Charlize Theron won an Oscar for, and was a great serial killer movie. The Dahmer series on Netflix is enormously exploitive. It is enormously exploitive. The fact that they're pissing on me while they're reenacting these crimes in such a lurid way. It's really kind of, it's the pot calling the kettle black. And the Dahmer bio is, the story itself is 24 pages long. And I found myself reading it. The first time I'd read it in a long time was for John Borowski's Serial Killer Culture. John is one of the best true crime documentarians based out of Chicago. I urge everybody to check out John's work, but look up Serial Killer Culture. And in there, he's interviewing the people that are involved in, like, who's John Wayne Gacy's art dealer, you know, who, like, I've published work from Richard Ramirez in the Pages of Snuff. We did a book about Richard Speck. We did a book about Brandon Lee. We did a book about Tracy Lords. So we had done a bunch of different biography books. And the Dahmer book, he had me read it out loud for him on camera. And when I was, this is like 2008, 2009 when I did this. So by now I'm a spoken word performer. Now I'm a public speaker. Now I'm a voiceover artist. But wait, there's more. Call now and get the big book of Dahmer. So John has me read this out loud. And you probably know this as a professional. When you are professional, let's say you're an auto mechanic and you've been doing stuff as a mechanic for 10 years, 13 years. You hear shit in the engine, you know what's up. You know exactly what's up. You know what's wrong. It's a reflex in your body, like a martial artist or anybody who's done forms for Taekwondo or karate or Kung Fu. The idea is muscle memory. So you don't think, just like react. And so me as a professional who's worked in advertising and worked in film and television production and worked with so many amazing creators, now I'm reading this out loud and I'm going, dude, this is good. Holy shit, this is pretty fucking good. So as I scanned this material in, and I've been color correct. Well, for black and white, you still got to correct it. You still got to make sure your blacks are black. You still got to make sure your lines are crisp. You know what I mean? So I'm making sure that nobody's crapping this out, guys.
Otherwise, you're getting like 256 shades of gray all across the paper, and it doesn't look right.
Yeah, it'll look muddy. You know what I mean? And so this book is like 154 pages. You've got the original Jeffrey Dahmer bio book, which is really good, actually. The writing in it is it's solid. And then you've got young Jeffrey Dahmer, which is, I just let Eric Perukin, that's his real name, Eric Perukin. He's credited as Eric Ganoff. And Ganoff in Russian, and I'm probably mangling it, is eater of pus. So he had to go under a pseudonym because he worked for the University of Illinois. He became an art professor at a different university. But to keep the politics away from him and to free him as an artist, he had to do this under a pseudonym, almost like the communist blacklist.
Yeah.
So that book, Young Dahmer, there were only 4,000 copies printed. That is hard to find. And then you've got Dahmer Zombie Squad and Jeffrey Dahmer versus Jesus Christ. Now, those are flat out, those are me doing my spoof. Because frankly, I needed to make money to pay for the lawyer to defend myself. I was being sued by the victims' families. So I had to raise like $10,000 to defend myself. That's 1992, 93 money, guys. That's a lot of money for a guy out of art school and a guy who's working as a bouncer at a bar. You get what I mean? That's a lot of money. And thank God my mother was there to save my ass, because she's the one who coughed up with the initial deposit to get a lawyer to help me out, because I was getting railroaded right through the system because I was the bad guy. You know, they artificially create a villain so they could just blame you. You're the straw man, you're the wicker man, and they're going to hang all their sins upon you. And they're the ones doing it. You know, the people at Netflix who did this Dahmer special, there was no reason to include my work in there. There was no reason to Photoshop your actor onto my biography cover. There was no reason to Photoshop alter my cover, because I'm the artist on Dahmer versus Christ. And even what you did was ridiculous. Like they Photoshopped Jesus's hair shorter. They moved the cross on his boxing shorts to a different part of his boxing shorts. You know what I mean? They did different shit like that. And then they had in season, like episode 10, they've got their characters, portrayal of the victims' families, all sitting around basically talking about what a piece of shit I am. And they're misrepresenting the book completely. They're absolutely knowingly misrepresenting the book to the audience to villainize me even further. But they're terrified to tell people who I am. They are terrified to say, Hart Fisher wrote this. They're scared of me. And that's why they did that. And they had to piss on my head. So I say to anybody out there who's ever been picked on by Spectrum or a major media company, to anybody who's ever had problems with Comcast and got screwed, you guys should get this book. You should see how you're being manipulated. Anybody who's ever been fucked over by a bad Yelp review, you're gonna commiserate, because you're gonna go, wow, this guy really went through the mud, and this book's pretty good. This book's pretty damn good. It's 154 pages. It's completely affordable. And after I'm done doing my interview with you, I'm going to go online and I'm going to add a whole new limited signed edition cover by the Mangum family. Andrew and his son did a really cool alternative cover where I am ripping Jeffrey Dahmer apart in hell and giving him the finger. And that's going to be our signed limited edition.
The appearance of this thing, I love it because it's so underground. I mean, Boneyard Press was sort of the bastard child of the 60s and 70s underground movement. At least I feel so. I don't. Maybe you feel differently. It's your
no. I was tremendously influenced by Stephen Bissett's Taboo at that time, and I was super influenced by underground comics from Gore Shriek, from Fantagraphics, from Fantco, from Insidious Tales from not Frank Forte. That's later. Me and Frank worked together on some of that stuff, but there were so many like creepy and eerie and weird war tales and House of Mystery, House of Secrets. And I devoured that stuff as a kid. And sorry, I got to get an eyelash out of my eye. There's too many cats in this apartment.
No such thing. No such thing. Big cat lover.
Yeah, I like cats. They're great.
All those DC horror books, I just ate those things up. I couldn't get enough of them. And what does DC not do these days? Anything at all like that? It's just.
You know why I think you probably feel that Boneyard Press was more underground? When you look at mainstream comics, they kind of eschew to a certain style or house style. And underground comics were everywhere. It's one of the things I loved about Rick Veitch, when he was doing his Abracus, the Earthman for Epic Illustrated. I love Bizarre Adventures from Marvel. That was some great, great stuff. A Frog is Just a Frog from Steve Bissett. Oh my God, so good. So for myself, I really enjoyed when you'd see a character drawn by a lot of different artists. And one of the great things is I've been also steadily mastering the Bill the Bull book. So while the Dahmer thing kind of bumped it, the Bill stuff is really amazing because all the different artists are so cool. It's like a black and white version of Heavy Metal magazine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can dig that.
And so
I loved heavy metal too. I had to hide it, but I loved it.
Yeah, I had to hide my Epic Illustrateds. My parents were divorced, and my mom felt that book was too adult for me. So I had to bring all my Epic Illustrateds to my dad's place, and he had no problem with it.
Yep, I'd hide heavy metal, and I would hide Vampirella. And I'm not talking about like the Vampirella comics you got now. I'm talking about the original run.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, those things were gorgeous. I should find an omnibus of those and just.
What do you think of the Dynamite Vampirella stuff? What do you think of Dynamite's Draculina?
I've read a little bit of Draculina. I found it interesting, but fortunately, that's the only Draculina thing I've read. I've read so much Vampirella that every time I read her, is like, do you have anything like continuity? Did
you read the Vampirella Dawn crossover?
I don't think I did. No.
Well, I paid cash money for that motherfucker.
Is that a good thing or bad? Are you angry about that?
No. I'm a big Joe Linsner fan. I've been going through my comic collection from my childhood, and so at my house I dug up Cry for Dawn #1, and you could really see that first issue's influence of the Steve Bissett influence on Joe. And think about it. I mean, be honest, dude. I've known Linsner's work for 25 years, probably. And I've known Joe for like 30 at least, maybe more.
Yeah. Cry for Dawn was, it Here's the interesting thing about Cry for Dawn in my collection. When I was married and collecting comics, my wife at the time was kind of jealous of some of the. She wouldn't let me buy like cherry Pop Tart stuff like that.
Oh, I love cherry Pop Tart. Larry Wheeler's a genius, isn't it? Larry Wheeler, or is it Larry something else? Larry Wells. Larry Wells. That guy, that crazy old hippie bastard. He was awesome. Larry was fun.
He just did a crowdfunder for a cherry Pop Tart, not an omnibus, but some sort of a special book that they're doing.
I gotta admit, man, there's some times with some of the little ladies I've ran around with in the last, because I got pushed into being single again. And so running around town with some of these beautiful ladies, I did with all these beautiful milk-fed ladies here in Wisconsin that are quite voluptuous. I really felt like I was in a cherry Pop-Tart comic. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yep. But,
it's different. Being in Wisconsin is different than being in Los Angeles. It's a different vibe. The people are different. There's nothing against that. But if you go to Mexico, the people are going to be different there. You go to Chicago, they're different there. That's just the way it is if you travel around. But people are still people, but they're going to be unique in their culture and what's going on around them. So that's great about. So it sounds like your woman was insecure.
Yeah, but she
didn't care about you around
Dawn
sexual material.
Yeah, but she picked out Dawn off the shelf and said, "You should get this." And I was like, "Really? That you're cool with that?" It's like, because she's like, "Yeah, there's something classy about the artwork on this. It's not legs splayed open kind of thing."
I think that Joe is really good at capturing the weight of a woman's body, because you look at a lot of these other versions of a woman, you just know that woman, there's no fucking way that woman exists in real life. You can get a feel, and I'm going to go back to like Linsner, it's Barbarella. It is Barbarella all the way. Barbarella all the way. And I know your secret, Joe. So, like, I was watching it recently and looking at the costuming and the way, like, there's a certain heft to a nice, well-rounded booty. Do you know what I mean? And maybe you wouldn't know that if you've only been living in mom's basement and you haven't had that right in your hand. That round.
You just pop into the comics.
Cow. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, that's and she was a full-figured, nice-looking girl, an Earth Mother. I think that's what she was.
Well, I've been trying to say to the lovely young woman that I'm dating right now, she's very much like a classic Vaughn Baudet nymph. Remember Strontium 90? Remember Vaughn Baudet's sexy, voluptuous women? That's what my lady reminds me of now. And I really haven't dated anybody like, I mean, that's the great thing. If you're going to go through life,
Oliver's there.
He knows what I'm talking about. A Vaughn Baudet nymph. Yummy and sexy too, which is really cool and a healthy, if you're going to be in a relationship, it's important to have a healthy attitude about sex. It really is, and I went through a long period, my wife had various periods of illness. My wife, Waka, my late wife. And so the battle with her cancer was like a 12-year battle. And so there were times in my relationship with Waka where nothing happened for a year, like when she was recovering from chemo and radiation and she'd been reduced to a skeleton, dude. And she was going through, menopause. Right. And it was just a difficult time. So there was no sex for me. I didn't have any sex for well over a year, nothing, no sexual attention, no anything. Your loved one is just hurt. And that was a weird time too, because around that time I was directing pornography. And I wasn't screwing around with any of the porn chicks either.
You're like an alcoholic with a 12-year chit pouring drinks at the bar.
Without drinking them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you're serving
that's me. Well, the people in the 90s, some of the ladies, it was well known that if I was in a monogamous relationship, that's it. And a lot of the people I knew that kind of were like, well, he's a man, he'll cheat, blah blah blah. Now they found out, and Ginger Hill, one of my original. Okay, you're gonna hear boneyard bitches, but it isn't meant to be derogatory at all. Ginger was fantastic, a good friend, and became a character in Babylon Crush. And in fact, one of the great things is she became Merle, this Bull Dyke character. She became Merle's girlfriend. And Merle was her favorite character in the comic book before she ever met me. So she was delighted. I didn't find that out. So I wrote her in as a character and made her the girlfriend of Merle. And so Ginger would tell some of the girls, like, we played around. I can't lie. So some of the girls would think like, oh, okay, Hart's got a new girlfriend, but we're on the road. She's not going to know. And Ginger would be like, no. Hart's not like that. Hart's not like that. Hart's different. No, he's not going to do anything. No, you don't know him. He's not going to do anything. And so I had a reputation, and some girls in Texas started calling me Iron Man.
That's not bad. No, that's a good reputation to have. I mean, I was same way. I did not need to play around.
It's not about need. I mean, I would have loved to have done those things, but I made a commitment, and I would have been breaking my commitment not only to that person I made the deal with, but to myself. And I'd be just like every other dildo out there. So it kind of bugs me when people are like, okay, in publishing and in filmmaking, there are times where the movie you've been working on for, let's say you've been working on this movie for 3 years, but God damn it, all of a sudden you get hired to do this other movie. Now, the first movie stuck in post-production, and you've got people handling it, and you're working on it, but it didn't come out when everybody expected it. But you, because of what goes on in the business, have to run off and go do this other one. It isn't about trying to cheat your audience or trying to cheat somebody. This is normal in the business. So Bill is still happening. Bill is still coming out. It's just, it got usurped because of what Netflix did. Yeah. Because of the timing. You get what I mean?
You had to be made then.
Yeah.
Or rather now.
Yeah. So I feel and I learned a lot. I learned a lot from my campaign with Bill. And so I tried to make something really streamlined and really lean so people could afford it. You know what I mean? And I tried to keep the other edition stuff. I really tried to limit it a bit because I want people to buy the book and read the book. I really feel that that's the most important thing, is for people to get these collected editions. Now, do we have alternative covers? Hell yeah, we do. We've got every single of the original covers will have its own. That's a limited. The bio cover is the main cover, the one that everybody knows from the history books. Then there's the young Jeffrey Dahmer cover, which I drew. Then there is the Dahmer Zombie Squad cover, which is drawn by our man Eric Perukin. Then there is the Dahmer versus Christ cover, and that is done by me. And that's a wraparound cover.
We got to get these covers over here in the main section of the crowdfunders. We can see them. This is the wraparound cover here. Well, I mean, you're talking about them, but this is the campaign right here, right?
I get you. I understand what you're saying. You're saying, hey, Hart, you should get all the different covers in here.
Yeah, you show people what they're getting. We're seeing some wraparound covers here. We're seeing some promotional things. We don't see the product until we get to the Jeffrey Dahmer versus Jesus Christ one.
Okay, because I have mock-ups of the Dahmer book, of the bio book, like the full omnibus with omnibus logo on it and all that stuff. I've got those. So you know what? Thank you for mentioning that to me, because it's been a run. It's been a marathon. I have to move my office. All the flooding's been a nightmare. So we've been also in the process of, I've had to move. So I'm having to move stuff. So it's been a real, wow, what's the most important thing to get up? But I have graphics sitting right over here off camera that when I'm done doing my interview with you and our private conversation off the air, then I'm going to update this with an alternative cover, with the bio cover. And then, you know what? Thanks to your advice, I'm going to get all this stuff up this weekend so people could see the omnibuses with the covers.
Throw a couple of pages in there. The first and second page. Say, here's how the story starts. Get people hooked.
I've got that too. Actually, I've been putting together like some splash pages from Dahmer versus Christ, and I was going to put them up there. I was thinking about making like a preview PDF to have up this weekend.
That will work. Yeah, if you got like a link to the PDF, but you know that requires people to work. You know, you got to click that mouse button.
Make it easy for them.
Somewhere else. Make it easy. Just and you know the Dahmer versus Christ, that's supplemental. That's if you focus on the core thing, which is this is the book Netflix is talking about.
And
Page
Dahmer
one,
versus
page two,
Christ
page
is it, because that's the cover they showed in episode 10. And the ladies pass it all around and make fun of the book. They all pass it around and lie about the book. In their portrayal, they say, oh, look, he's making Dahmer into a superhero now. Oh,
Yeah.
we should sue him. Well, we know how that worked out. Oh, God, yes.
That part didn't make the story.
Around, and then it goes to the final lady around the corner, and they're all dressed like they came back from their Bible brunch in some Southern fried green tomatoes movie. And she's got the cover up where you can see it. And she's going, I'm not going to read this book, but Lord, I hope Jesus wins. Hey, asshole, Jesus wins. Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert. I'm sorry I'm getting loud in this empty apartment here, but Jesus does win. I've never tried to aggrandize Jeffrey Dahmer. I have never tried to do that. So this portrayal in the Netflix special is a lie. And I think the book is more harrowing in a different way than they portrayed it. And it also is way funnier. Oh my God, if you're a fan of In Living Color, if you've seen the Chevy Chase Dahmer sketch on Saturday Night Live, if you like funny memes, you're going to laugh your ass off when you read Dahmer versus Christ. It's really funny. And you're going to see behind the scenes photos. So one of the things we're putting in there is I have photographs published in the books that are from the protest march. So we've got photos of police officers reading the Dahmer books around a keg. We've got barbecue photos. We have all kinds of insane behind the scenes photos that you will never be able to get your hands on or see unless you buy Hart D. Fisher's big book of Dahmer.
Now, let's be clear to the audience, because there is confusion out here, and we're seeing it here from Oliver in this. All these tiers, they're the same book with different covers, right? It's a compendium of all the Dahmer books.
So far, correct. Yes, they're all a compendium. They're a trade paperback of all 4 books. So do I need to get in there and do a better job of explaining?
Well, after this, probably, yes, because other people may have the same question. Oliver, it's all different versions of the same book. So
okay, so Oliver, what it is these are all the same books, and we have some really great pinups in here too as stretch goals. Are you saying, Oliver, do you want me to put up a perk that collects all the books together on one perk?
I think he was saying that, but I think he was saying that from the standpoint of thinking that they were all different books, that they were all, this is the Dahmer versus Jesus book, and this is the Young
thought
Dahmer
I
book.
made it pretty clear in the descriptions that this is all 4 books in one, but I can understand that. I can grow and learn and I could accept constructive criticism. So what I would
just look to the right and they don't read the big text.
Well, I put all the books as in an add-on, but you know what? I will make sure this weekend I get a perk up there, because we are potentially looking at lengthening the campaign a little bit. A lot of people have asked me to. There's a lot of my fans that are like, Hart, I'm not going to get paid until this day. And I'm like, okay, all right, you've been a long-term fan, a long-term customer. I got to listen to you. And some of the artists have felt that way. They're like, Hart, I want to contribute, but I need a little bit more time. So I think Oliver's right, and I think I'm going to do this. I was thinking about this. Like, I view these things a little differently than other people. I feel that a campaign picks up steam. I'm a little bit more old school. I think it's defeatist to think that your campaign is done if you haven't made the money in the first 2 days. I think that's somebody else is trying to trick you into that Hollywood box office. I'm like the guy who goes, you know, Super Troopers was a flop when it came out. Hey guys, Blade Runner was a flop when it came out, but it wasn't until it got out there for a while and it got some legs and people started talking about it. It built up momentum.
Yeah. Campaigns are start up high on day 1, day 2, and then they drop, and then they stay that way for the the rest of the campaign until the last week, and then they're up again because everyone's like, "Oh, I better get this now because it's about to finish."
And my plan was to keep adding stuff. Like Andrew and his son came to me and they're like, "We want to do something," and I'm like, "Cool." They're like, "You got to lengthen your campaign." I'm like, "No, man, this is a lightning round because I feel I need to get this campaign closed before Christmas. I want to get on getting these digital editions out there. I want to get these books done. I want them done. I want them out. And I understand that people only have so much money at a time, and we're going to get into the winter months, man. And in January and February and in March, people are going to be paying for their heating costs. People are going to be paying for their gas costs. People are going to be, dealing with taxes. So I felt like, man, you got to do this now, and you got to make it affordable. And I feel that I put together a very affordable package. But you're right, I will do that. I'm going to do a perk with all of it. Plus, we got to post up the signed editions.
Got to post up the signed editions. That cover, the one that you're so proud of, the one that's that they redid for Netflix. Combat that Netflix cover. Take that cover, turn that into an 11/17 print. Suitable for framing or hanging up on your wall somehow.
Well, one of the things we're working on is trading cards. And I will say it's Max DeVille's idea. And they're victim cards.
That's chancy. That's some balls behind that one because the families of the victims, if they were angry before, they might get angry again.
No, I'm doing this because they called me out. The families called me out on the talk show. If you can see it on YouTube. If anybody wants to watch some of these clips, go to youtube.com/crime pays Hart, H-A-R-T. And you can see them. And Janetta Robinson in the audience is yelling at me, "Why don't you do comics about the victims?" She's screaming at me, "Why don't you do comics about the victims?" And I said on the air, I believe that that's a story you should tell. I believe that you folks should write that book and tell your story. I think it's important that you tell your story. And on this campaign, there are add-ons. And one of my add-ons is my story about being a victim of violent crime. It's my story about being a victim of these talk shows that lied about my work and presented me as a bad human being and set me up for ridicule. It's my story about my girlfriend's rape and murder. Okay? So it's my victim story because I am a victim too. And it's a real thing. It isn't like me going, "Well, they said a mean name to me, so I'm in victim status." No, guys. No. I went through 10 years and 3 different. Yep, that's a physical addiction. Addition, correct. 35, yes.
Yeah. And
the digital editions are 20.
This is an add-on.
Yeah, and there's a lot of add-ons, like with the other books. And so an American Horror Story is an add-on to this. And I would urge anybody, if they want more background of what was happening in my life as I wrote this, as I made The Garbage Man, because I felt that I needed to put in an American Horror Story into this campaign because it ties right into the story. It ties right into everything the Netflix special alluded to without telling you. It ties like Garbage Man. The Garbage Man is my first film. It's my first feature film, and it is about a black serial killer. And the weird thing is I've done a lot of research on criminals and serial killers since I was a kid. And The Garbage Man, I was highly influenced by Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, which is a fantastic Chicago horror film with Tom Tulls and the late Tom Tulls and Michael Rooker. And this film that took like 8 years to come out because it freaked people out too bad. And I drove up from Champaign, Illinois, into downtown Chicago, like a 4-hour drive almost, to catch the midnight show of this at the Music Box Theater one time. And so this movie knocked me out. It was super influential on me when I wrote The Garbage Man. And also I had a lot of crime going on in my life with being a victim. With a lot of my friends have been raped. My male friends and female friends have been raped. women aren't the only ones that get raped. Okay. I've been sexually assaulted and battered. I am a victim of this. This has happened to me. Mr. Big Tough Guy, right? Oh, that can't happen to Hart. Well, guys, it has happened to me. I have been sexually assaulted and battered in the middle of a bar in the middle of the day here in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. That's a whole other story, but it has happened. So in The Garbage Man, it's all about a black serial killer told from his point of view. His mother was a white prostitute who abused him and sold him as a child. He was a victim. He was sold into, like, people paid to rape him. So in this movie, he's obsessed with re-killing his mother. You get, and that's a lot of for me, it was a lot like Ed Kemper. Ed Kemper was obsessed with killing his mother. There were issues with Ed Gein here in Wisconsin. So in this movie, it was interesting because in the middle of making this film, a black man that was a lot like my killer in the film raped and murdered my girlfriend halfway through making The Garbage Man. So I felt that The Garbage Man and An American Horror Story were important facets of this Jeffrey Dahmer, Big Book of Dahmer, and that's why they're there as an add-on. And I would urge people to definitely get these. And there goes said cat. That's Hank, by the way.
I've seen him couple times walking by there. I haven't said hi to him yet. COVID Kev's asking, what about top trumps instead of trading card? I don't know what top trumps are.
I know what he's talking about. No, there's enough victims to, we just want to talk a little bit about who the victims were, because everybody says, oh, you ignore the victims. Well, no, we don't ignore the victims. And I feel that this Dahmer special really exploited them, and I felt that I needed to answer the criticism that was levied upon me by Janetta Robinson on these talk shows. So Janetta, thanks to you and thanks to Netflix and thanks to the brilliance of Max DeVille, we're going to be doing these victim trading cards.
You've done these movies and these comics about different serial killers, and you're in the Chicago-ish area. I've been to Lake Geneva when I was in college in Chicago. We drove up for a resident assistant retreat in Lake Geneva. Beautiful countryside there. There's a serial killer that was in Chicago that I only learned about like in the last year or so because it was so long ago. But H.H. Holmes, have you heard his stories?
John Borowski made the best documentary on H.H. Holmes. Forget about the sensational series that you saw on television. Forget about that American Ripper bullshit. They whitewashed this crap. You really want to see John's work. John Borowski. You want to see his Albert Fish documentary? For sure. You want to watch his Albert Fish documentary. And you definitely want to watch his H.H. Holmes documentary. And he was kind of angry about that because he felt that the American Ripper series really ripped him off.
Yeah, I can see that. If you ever come down here to my neck of the woods, Northwest Arkansas, we'll go to Eureka Springs. You'll like Eureka Springs. It's a big hippie area. But there's a hotel, and the hotel used to be a hospital. And the hospital was run by Dr. Norman Baker. And they are still finding jars out in the woods around the hospital now and then filled with preserved fluid and a body part because he was disassembling victims in his hospital. He was no real doctor. He was a quack. People were coming to him like they were going to Dr. Kellogg in Michigan for health spa reasons. He built it all around the springs, and it's like, yes, come here, cures cancer, cures blindness, cures erectile dysfunction, cures plantar fasciitis. People would go in, checked in, never checked out. And he just took them all apart.
That's kind of a common theme. I mean, people want to, okay, when I wrote The Garbage Man, the common parlay in FBI profiling circles was that serial killing was a province of white males. And that's a lie. That's a dead-on dumbass. It's why I'm honestly not a fan of FBI serial killer profilers. I really am not. I think that everybody forgets about the artistic leap of the imagination. That notion that, oh, well, if you look up to your left side, you must be lying. Bullshit. bullshit. You have no idea where the artistic spark's going, or you think you're having an argument with somebody and you're like, you say something to them and you think like, oh, I scored a real point on her. And she's going, oh, fuck, I just realized I'm all out of fucking tampons. Damn it, I got to get more tampons. You don't know what's going on in her fucking head. You do not know. Oh, what's up, Hanky? What's up, Hanky? You hear the cat in the background?
He's a talker
Hank.
cat.
Well, Hank is sitting there and he's going, you haven't given me enough attention. So they came running in here, and it's my girlfriend's apartment. She's at work right now. So I had to like grab the key from her to be able to get in here, And so Hank going, where's my love? You just keep talking, but you're not talking to me. Because I've been coming in here and doing a bunch of podcasts this week because my internet's just been fucking nightmare.
He can't figure out why you're talking to nobody.
Well, it's weird. It just happens out of nowhere, and it'll be like, okay, Ash Hamilton from the director of the Sean Miller Story, one of the most awarded independent horror mockumentaries, and it's great. It was at the film festival. I see you, Hanky, and so I'm on Ash's show, and the camera that his son gave me a camera to use on these interviews, because Ash has been helping me update my computer gear and learn the new Macintosh software for mastering out the Build a Bull book. So I've got this camera, and all of a sudden it wigs out and goes dead. Then I get it working. Then the light over here wigs out and goes dead. Get it working. Then all of a sudden the microphone in the goddamn laptop goes out. And then we get everything set up and rebooted, and we're on Chrome now, and it's supposed to be working. Boom, Wi-Fi goes out. So what do? I plug in the Ethernet. Doesn't matter. Doesn't fucking matter. But I come over here to my lady's place, and gee, all of a sudden everything's working just fucking fine.
The angels had the place guarded. There's no evil spirits getting in.
I think it's the radio tower.
Yeah,
I do. And Lake Geneva is known for, there's a lot of, the town doesn't want to discuss all the witchcraft and satanic cult activity happening around here. Then there's all the UFO people. Then there's the folks that they feel and they believe that there's a section of the lake where two ley lines cross, and they feel there's a nexus point. So there's a lot of really weird energy and a lot of weird shit that happens around Lake Geneva, and it's kind of known for it. And Lake Geneva was a mafia playground. All these businesses here, it was a bootlegger's paradise. So it's filled with underground tunnels, and this lake is spring fed. So there's a tremendous amount of natural springs going on that feed the lake. It's one of the cleanest lakes in the country, which is part of why I moved here, to have that awesome clean water.
Yeah.
And also I needed clean air. My wife had health problems, and I wanted to be nearby because my mother on the south side of Chicago was getting older, and I wanted to be close by to help her. And so I'm here in like the house I'm in now. I could tell there's a lot of really weird spiritual stuff with water. And anybody who knows anything about the paranormal and haunted shit, there's always stuff around haunted or running water and stagnant water.
Yeah.
Stagnant, brackish water is a bad energy, not just for mosquitoes, but everybody forgets that water holds energy. What is a tidal wave? It's actually a massive wave of force. If you study kinetic energy, and you study, like if you're into shooting and you're into guns and pistols, then you would understand the hydrostatic shock of different rounds on the human body, because the human body is mostly water. And
right.
That's part of why we react to moon tides. And people go, that ain't true. Fuck you. There'd be no tides if it wasn't for the moon, jackass.
Yep.
The whole reason the water runs out and comes back is it's a moon tide. The moon is circling our planet and pulling on those bodies of water. Yep. You think it's not pulling on us? Grow up, kids.
I saw some crazy, interesting stuff, and I can't duplicate it, so I don't know how accurate it is or how much of it was mocked up and basically made into a lie. But you talk about water retaining energy. They talk about water retaining emotional energy, and they showed these crystals. They were like, hey, here's glasses of water. And,
I know exactly what you're talking about. The idea of whether you direct hatred at it or you say I love you to it.
Yeah, you could say you're ugly, I hate you, you shouldn't have been born. And then they would like freeze it or something, and they'd take samples from each one from the same freezer and show the crystals that were formed. And the ones that you loved had these beautiful snowflake patterns, and just like lattice work of lace. And the ones that you directed negative energy toward, they weren't symmetrical, they were malformed, and it was just this crazy little.
I've seen those photos, and I've seen people go to debunk the study. I've seen people back the study. I've worked with a lot of folks in Los Angeles. Okay, one of the great things about being everybody wants to put LA down, and they're wrong. The people that want to all put it down are people who have not lived there. When you live in Los Angeles, one of the things that's fantastic is you were surrounded by artists, the best artists who came to make it. You're surrounded by the best writers who came to make it. You're surrounded by the best directors who came to make it, the athletes who came to make it, everybody who was dissatisfied with their hometown to do something better, to do something more, to be more. They're driven. There is the best fashion people. They're really educated people. They're very, very intelligent, sophisticated people. There's amazing chefs. There's the best martial artists in the world come there to be like the next Jean-Claude Van Damme or Chuck Norris or what have you. You know what I mean? They're all there to like make it. The boxers, the soccer stars. So there's an enormous talent pool all around you, and you get fed by that. If you're out there and you're mixing and circulating, you're fed by all these really, really amazing, talented people. And that feeds into your work, and it feeds into what you do as a creator. And that's part of why American Horrors, I think, is so good, because I've had so many influences. And when I launched it, I had so many filmmakers helping me.
How long has that been running?
American Horrors, we signed our first television contract in 2008 to create the TV series. Okay. Then we signed our contract with Alki David in 2011. And we launched October 2nd, 2011 to do the TV channel.
So it's got a pedigree. I mean, it's not like you just said, hey, let's stream something last year. And
we're 11 years now, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we only had one off period. After my wife's death in 2018, we got knocked off the air for about a month and a half, because our servers in the Ukraine got wiped. They got wiped on accident. So our servers with all our content got wiped.
Are they still there?
Also in the Ukraine. Yeah, the Ukraine. Yeah. And then after my servers got wiped, and I'm like, I'm not paying my bill for that month. What do you mean? You wiped my server. I'm not fucking paying you. You fucking owe me. I now have to spend all these hours to get my shit back together and upload it again to a different server. And I'm losing revenue. Every day my network is not on the air, I'm losing revenue. Assholes. And they were just dicks. They were utter dicks. But I took it as a sign, and we recompressed the entire library. We went through and re-digitized everything on new specifications that Max gave me. And since then, the channel's been streaming really good.
Good. Now I've been to it, and I've watched the stuff there. But being a newbie, I didn't know. Do you have a published schedule? Because American Horrors, for people who don't know it, AmericanHorrors.net, just go straight to it or look it up on your Roku. You're watching whatever's showing at the time. It's not.
It's a TV channel.
Yeah, exactly.
When you turn on NBC, what's on NBC?
Whatever's on when you turn it on.
Yeah. When you turn on HBO, da 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 da.
I haven't done that in forever, because I don't
really
have a TV.
Been hard. Like, okay, all right. I get offended when somebody who is a video on demand service says they're a channel. Motherfucker, you're not a channel. Okay, here, dummies, let me help you dummies out there. This stuff is all mystical. It's called television for a reason. Television reason. Channeling. It's called a channel because they're streaming and beaming that channel. You're channeling in this vision that somebody else has created for you. Video on demand, that is not the same thing. It isn't a channel. You're going through and picking and choosing like you're over at the supermarket. I want green beans and rice. That's not a channel. It's a video rental service. Yep. You get me? So everybody out there with your little cute little video rental service, with your cute little public domain movies on, I really don't have much respect for you because you're nothing more than just a shelf with a bunch of shit on it. At American Horror, we program it and we go, you know what? Right now, I'm watching The Legend of Sleepy Hollow with Jeff Goldblum in the background. It's on there now. Now, when I put that up there, I didn't put like 5 more TV horror films in a row. I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is cool. Now we need a Fulci film to change up the mix. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And everything is a flow. It's a flow. It is a flow. One thing is flowing into another. Like when you lay out a page in a comic book, when you've got a double page splash, you're laying out the flow of the eye. You are taking the eye across the page and directing it. I'm a master at this. And I'm doing the same thing with the television network. So what's happening is anybody who watches is lucky enough to see a master putting together a flow of 18 hours, 24 hours, 26 hours. Now, what were you asking me about the notion of the guide?
Yeah, well, when we had TV, we had a little book that we'd go by. It says, hey, at 8 o'clock on this channel, this show is on. So do you have a guide that, tells people, hey, if you want to watch this, you better be sitting in front of your tube at this time?
For years and years, when we were at Film On, when we were over at Film On and we were doing that, they had it's called an EPG, Electronic Programming Guide. So for years and years, we would fill our stuff out and the guide was supposed to be up. The goddamn thing was never fucking right. It was never right. The tech never worked for it. It was never fucking right. And it was so infuriating. And it was such honestly, a waste of manpower, And also I found that I used to go on Twitter and like when my wife was sick, I was taking care of her. I was her sole caregiver. And, excuse me, I would look for things I could do in between taking care of her. I had to rub her shoulders. I had to do all kinds of stuff. She was dying of colon cancer and severe anemia. Had a lot of health issues. Her lungs were filling with fluid. I had to massage the fluid out of her lungs. It was insane. And so I was bang on Twitter. Oh, here's what's coming up next. Oh, here's what's coming up next. Hey, it's Five Finger. Oh, hey, it's Death Fiend. Oh, it's this. You know what I found out, man?
Nobody was
looking. When I ran out of time, when I could no longer do the Twitter, my wife died, and I was running everything by myself. And I just couldn't keep up on it. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't keep up on it. And I found out that when I quit telling everybody everything, spoon feeding every motherfucker, I started to take the attitude of Danzig and Daft Punk and all my years of working in the music industry. And I started to realize that, okay, I like radio. I love radio. When I'm in my car going to work, I love it. I'm like, oh, goddamn, I haven't heard that Kansas song in 3 years. Holy shit. And it wasn't me trying to constantly program myself or constantly, it was this surprise. It's what I liked about radio. I liked that, oh, man, they're going to play that ancient Jethro Tull song I haven't heard in forever. They're not going to play the same Jethro Tull song. I don't ever want to hear Judas Priest Living After Midnight ever again. Okay, guys, everybody who's doing Jack radio show, never again, never. That's the one you guys always play. You almost never play Electric Eye. You almost never play Screaming for Vengeance. You know what I mean? I'm a Manowar fan. I want to hear Fighting the World. So what happens is we're a wallpaper. We're the horror fans rock concert. So when you go to American Horrors, you go to American Horrors Classic, no, Daft Punk isn't going to give you their playlist when you go to Coachella. No, you just know they're going to fucking rock your ass. When you go to the Metallica show, you just know they're going to fucking rock your ass. When you buy those goddamn Rolling Stones tickets, you don't know what the fuck they're going to play. You fucking don't. But you know it's the Stones, baby. And so I've learned that that's a better way to do it. And that's a big part of our watch time. And it's a big part of, there's this rejection culture. I've run into this with the lady I'm dating and some of the other girls that I was dating before that. In this newer generation, this instant gratification generation, I've seen this. I don't want to watch that. Oh, who's in that? I never heard of that guy. I don't know who that guy is. Who's that? Oh, I don't like devil movies. And there's this constant rejection, constant. You know, it's the same old shit that you hear the comedians go, well, she always says, I don't care. What do you want to eat? Well, I think I want to eat Chinese. I don't feel like Chinese.
Yeah, well, then you do have an opinion.
No, it's a thing. It's a thing. Any motherfucker who's in a relationship, even me, I could say, well, you know, honey, I don't care what we eat. What do you want to eat? Well, I want to go get meatloaf from Quick Trip. Meatloaf from the gas station? Fuck you. I'm not eating that. You get me?
Yep. Yeah, I do.
So there's a reason why there is no EPG. Jagoffs. You go to McDonald's, are you curious if there's not going to be a cheeseburger? When you go to McDonald's, you're thinking, boy, I sure hope they have soda pop. Get over yourselves. Get over this pre-programmed soup. What you can count on from me is I'm going to shock you, I'm going to rock you, I'm going to surprise you, I'm going to take you to places you weren't expecting. And that's what I'm all about. This sugar-fed, spoon-fed, milk-fed, fucking wipe my ass with special man care products that I'm supposed to be able to flush down the toilet, but I can't. You know, what do they call those? Dude wipes?
Yep.
You know, all that kind of stuff. Like, is your ass not quite so fresh? Well, maybe you should wipe it a little better with a dude wipe. In that kind of ultra manicured world, we're rock and roll. That's part of it. And so the idea of this Dahmer book and you getting the big book of Dahmer, it is nothing like your little woke ass ever read before. All right? So if you're upset about this pronoun or that pronoun or this person pees or that person pees, you're going to freak the fuck out when you read these books. These books are going to take you to a place you've never fucking been before, man. And they don't love you. I don't love you. I don't love you. I don't love you. You're not special. You're not special.
But we do love our customers, right? We want to love them because they spend money on our stuff. But you know what?
Actions speak louder than words. So if you want to be able to criticize me, and if you want me to actually give a goddamn, then maybe you perhaps should buy my book and read it. And if you buy my book and read it, then you'll have a valid way to criticize me. Like, hey, Hart, I bought your book, I read it, and I was deeply disappointed. I will care more. I will give a damn. If you're somebody who's never contributed to my campaign, if you've never read a book, if you've never watched a show, then I don't give a goddamn what you think or what you say. Honestly, I don't care. I do not care. Period. I mean, last time I came on, RJ, did we play the video from the campaign?
We have not had this campaign on at all.
Okay. Oh, wow, dude. I'll tell you what. Can we play the campaign video and I'm going to get a refill on my whiskey and Coke?
Yes. Let me just present it with sound. And because usually I download the videos to share at the beginning of the show. And I looked at it and said, 4 minutes long. Fuck that. We're not starting a show with 4-minute video long. But
yeah, I know. It's better because now it's got context.
Yeah, I'm going to play it right now. So here we go.
I'll be right back after these messages.
I don't know how they fucking talked me into this, but I grabbed this goddamn shirt. I have a box in my mom's fucking attic, and Jesus Christ, I look like a sausage link.
the underground lair of an upstart publisher, the saga of Jeffrey Dahmer unfolds in the pages of a novel.
It's something you can't get anywhere else. I mean, you like the truth, you like something a little different, something a little bit more fresh, a little bit more bloody. We've got something.
Outraged families of Dahmer's victims have successfully sued to block further publication of the strip.
We find that this book written by Mr. Hart Fisher, shame.
We might find what he publishes absolutely repugnant, but here in America, you're allowed to publish and print whatever you want. We have all kinds of books about all kinds of murderers. We have movies about Adolf Hitler. What right does a group have to go and try and ban the publication?
Hart Fisher is being sued by family members of Dahmer's victims for using their names and likenesses in his comics. But Fisher says his real concern is with the family's determination to have the comics banned.
Basically, the only reason they're here is so you can profit directly on their pain live while it happens right here. That's the only reason they're here. You brought them here for one reason. I'm not profiting anything. She's making thousands and thousands of dollars by you crying on TV, suffering on TV. I did a comic book about a killer. That's a journalistic exercise.
On TV. We let them know that we do not like your
company.
comic book.
The whole talk show industry is based on festering wounds. You take people, you exploit them right there.
Did you try to sue over this?
Yes, I did, and I lost through the First Amendment, and I've had that up to here too.
If it does bother her, Hart, what's the problem in apologizing?
Well, the problem is this. Why don't you go out and create your own product?
And write a book on what it's like to be a black called a Caucasian who becomes a victim?
Something like that.
I've been through a lot on the south side of Chicago. So when it came time to do my own comic book company, well, Boneyard Press was about that primal scream for life in the face of death. I remember sitting in my father's kitchen. We were having breakfast. He lived in Country Club Hills. And he's like, so this company you're doing is Boneyard Press, huh? Yeah, Dad. Yeah, it's the Boneyard Creek in Champaign, right? It's Boneyard Creek. And I'm like, no, Dad, it means my back is against my grave and I'm going forward or I'm going to die. I'm going forward or I'm going to die. That's where I'm coming from. This is what I'm doing. If I don't succeed, I'm going to tumble into my own goddamn grave. So I'm going to go over everything and everyone in front of me.
Boneyard Press, their titles include Dark Angel, Bill the Bull, Outlaw Nation, Jeffrey Dahmer, the Unauthorized Biography, Kill Image, Kill Marvel. He's no stranger to controversy. Hero Illustrated called him the most dangerous man in comics. Welcome to Cartoonist Kayfabe, Hart D. Fisher.
This fucking thing's a large. I mean, this thing's tighter than the last one. You guys think this looks better?
Yeah, it doesn't show as much. It's black.
You guys are high. It's a large.
It's slimming.
What do you mean slimming?
It's slimming. You don't look sausagey.
All right, you fuckers. Let's roll this.
Yeah, that's a good video.
Thank you. We've got like a 60-minute kind of pseudo, like the 60-minute documentary put together that we want to flesh out a little bit longer from the Bill the Bull. So I apologize to everybody who might be confused by the Kickstarter. You know, I believe in using both platforms. There were people that said, hey, Hart, you can't use Indiegogo because it's a Comicsgate platform. Hey, you can't do this. And I'm like, no, man, I'm going to do... okay, guys, I'm Hart fucking Fisher. When have I not been Hart fucking Fisher? I'm going to go play with this myself, and I may fail sometimes. I may fall flat on my face, but I'm going to try this my way.
Yeah, and now there's other options. There's a crowdfunder without the E. They couldn't afford the E. Crowdfunder.com, which is I'm seeing people make some serious money on it now. There's one getting ready to launch called Fund My Comic, because there's you saw the people getting shadow banned on Indiegogo, like Mike Barron. You couldn't even search their damn comic on Google. If you didn't have the direct link, you weren't going to find it. So they're like, well, fuck that. We'll build our own funder site. And that's what they're doing.
That's good. A lot of it has to do with like building, anything. Okay. A lot of folks I know have flat out said like, hey, Indiegogo's platform doesn't have as many users as the Kickstarter platform does. And that's a legitimate thing.
Yeah.
And they said certain properties do better over at Indiegogo than they do at Kickstarter. And then you've got the issue, like I know Ethan won't go with Kickstarter because he's had censorship problems, which I don't even understand, because I don't see anything in his books that one should censor. Now, if you don't care for his opinions, if you don't care for his politics, that has nothing to do with his comic books. I mean, that's how I feel. Like
Kickstarter. But when all this crowdfunding started up in earnest and the whole Comicsgate thing was going on, his friends, Richard Meyer, got censored, and I think Mike S. Miller and John Malin got censored, and not for their content, but because the Karens of the world called up and said, "You've got this Richard Meyer person on your Kickstarter. Do you know he's a white supremacist?" The man has Muslim and black children, and he's the worst at being a white supremacist I've ever seen. But they were kicking him off.
I've had people try to say that about me, and I'm just like, yeah, sure. They wouldn't have me, man. They wouldn't. I got a black grandma. I got a black Uncle Norman. I mean, it's my step grandma, but still I love her. My Uncle Norman not with us anymore. My late wife was Japanese. I don't buy into any of that crap. People are people, and that's part of the joy is our differences. The thing that makes a diamond beautiful and the thing that makes a diamond sparkle is its flaw. And that's fact, folks.
Like the chart sparkle.
Mm-hmm. So I'm into that, and I think that's a big part of why, again, people should really check out this Dahmer book. We do have an introduction, an epitaph that's going to be written by Ethan. I went on Ethan's show, and it was interesting. Yeah. We had a really great, spirited conversation. And I really appreciate his point of view, and I think that it's going to be interesting to see what he has to say, because I haven't put a muzzle on or anything, because Ethan feels that I'm the original Comicsgate guy, because the industry lied about me, the industry misrepresented my work, and they tried to say, we don't like your political views. Like, I had the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund hang me out to dry after burning up a bunch of my money. Well, there's the cat. Burning up a bunch of my dough when I'm getting sued by the victims' families. And they said that they couldn't help me because of my politics. That's a quote. Hey, Hart, we can't help you because of your politics. We can't help you out, Hart, because we don't support your politics. And I didn't understand that statement whatsoever, because I'm anti-serial killer. I'm pro, helping out crime victims, because I grew up like that on the south side of Chicago. I never aggrandized this person. I did not know what they were talking about. I was never political in the books, though I don't talk about Republicans or Democrats or any of that stuff. And in fact, in the Dahmer versus Christ book, it's a big mashup. Bill Clinton's in there, young Jeffrey Dahmer. What is it? The Further Adventures of Young Jeffrey Dahmer and his best friend, Danny Quayle. Yeah, so... George Bush Sr.'s in that. There's a really weird cameo at the end of Jeffy Dahmer. Oh my God! When I was going through the artwork and I was scanning in those last, because the weird thing about Eric, the Russian, is he would draw these books to size, and he would put a jeweler's loop in his eye and use crow quill pens and stuff. So all that stuff is drawn to size, guys. It's really cool. And so when I'm scanning this stuff in, oh my God, at the end, there's like senior George Herbert Walker Bush and Bill Clinton. And it's, oh God, oh my God. Oh, and I'm just going, I forgot how crazy this book was. And the only way anybody out there is going to get to see this is if they contribute to the omnibus. Now, every single thing here is the big book of Dahmer. So when you go on, I need to say, I thought I said in the descriptions, alternative cover, and it's all 4 things in there. But I'll go into the campaign tonight and fix it up, and I'm going to update it and take into consideration everything you guys are saying.
So we've seen you put the Bill the Bull omnibus together. You're doing the Dahmer thing now, obviously because of Netflix. What's Boneyard Press doing that's new? Something that people will look at and say, "Oh yeah, I remember that. I need to get a copy." What's coming up that they're like, "Oh fuck, Boneyard Press is doing something new. Haven't had anything from them in a while." What do we got?
Well, we've been caught up in the fact that why should I do something new if you're unaware of what the history of the character is? Because I'm a comic book nerd. I've been a comic nerd my whole life. I don't like to read Lee Child, the Jack Reacher series of books. I'm a big fan of it.
Just got this in the mail today.
Is it the brand new one?
Yes, season 1. On DVD.
Oh, the TV show. I haven't seen it at all. Where's that? Where can I see that?
Amazon Prime is showing that.
Since Amazon censors so much horror and fucks over horror creators, I kind of boycott them.
That's why I had to get the DVD because I don't have Amazon Prime. But this is the guy who played.
That's why once I get done, I promise myself it's like, Hart, you are not allowed to buy one more fucking CD, not one more fucking DVD, not one more fucking Blu-ray, no fucking VHS online if there's a fucking killer library of VHS. No, you can't buy shit. All I want to see you do is finish the shit you already put on your table. Like, get these books done. Get projects for the network done. I've got a lot of projects being cut for the network. We got a lot of music video premieres coming up. We got some new stuff from the designs out in Italy. We've got a lot of great new stuff to get on the network. So I've been just like buried in like weird technical problems. Me and Max, to launch American Horror's Classic, we went through tech problems that were stupid. And it was me and Max that solved it, not even the tech people. Like a month and a half delay over something that should have been done that day.
Yeah.
And it
cost
money.
You got a good tech person with Max.
Well, the only thing you got to remember about Max is you better be prepared to keep resending him your passwords and shit and send him a list of what he needs to do. Because the guy is a war veteran and he has taken some shots to the head from some improvised explosive devices. And he's been honest with me. We're good friends. So you got to remember, sometimes his short-term memory is a little bit Swiss cheesy. So you better forgive him for it. And he needs that password, get it to him again. You sent it to him 5 other times, don't give a fuck. Send it to him again. You get what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But no, I love Max. Max is great.
I need to get him to look at my website because my website's fucked. It's been that way for a while. I mean, it processes fine. It's all cosmetic fucked. But I need somebody who does Drupal and CSS.
Well, at one point, Max, before he started Atrocity Press, when Max was doing the Grindhouse channel, it was the #1 exploitation channel for Roku. And I mean that by exploitation movies like The Exterminator. Hunt that hippie down, run hippie run, shit like that. Booby movies, Vampires Lost Lesbos. I love that stuff too. We did a double feature show on American Horror called Movies from Planet X. And I've been talking to him. I'm like, dude, we need to revive this. He's like, I don't have the licenses for those films anymore. And I'm like, no, dude, we'll play different fucking movies. We'll do different ones. Yeah. So Max wanted to do all these omnibuses with Boneyard. He was looking to license all this, and I started tracking down all the Bill the Bull materials for him. But then things happened, some shit happened, some shit hit the fan with his channel, some shit hit the fan with my wife's health, and it kind of derailed it. So here I am now, and we are going to do new stories, all right? There's a reason why it's called Boneyard Press 2020. I feel our world ended during the lockdown. Our world, you and me, the world that you and I grew up with, is fucking over. It's fucking over, dude.
It's a totally different place out there now, run by totally different
now. We live in a different time. And
I know people who think that it's run by completely different species because, mRNA changed the genetics. It's not technically the same kind of a human being person that it was before.
I am going to avoid getting involved in that. I have my own personal opinions about it, and they probably okay.
And YouTube will yank it down.
I'm just going to say this. I'm going to qualify my statement with this, my friend. Okay, my wife's first cancer really hit her in the summer of 2005 and into 2006. Okay, so her cancer was a really weird, virulent strain. It wasn't like she had a cervical cancer first. She had a tumor in her cervix. And so it was nasty, and it was really in your fucking face. And luckily for me, doesn't sound lucky, but I started training in the martial arts in 1987. So in 1987, I started training in high-level martial arts with high-level people. And you learn about different nutrition. You learn about different health practices. You learn about pressure points and shiatsu and different herbs and Chinese medicine. And you learn about different things that work. They work or they don't. That's really your only judgment. It either works or it doesn't. And so I had come into this with a high level, my doctor helping with Waka's recovery was the fight doctor for Gokor's Hayastan Academy fight team in the UFC. So it was Dr. Adam. And we were dealing with hot lasers, cold lasers, being wired up to help your body recover faster. I've had specific kinds of acupuncture where I've had 65, 70 needles in me. And then they would wire you up to a little bit of low current to help you free up some of your meridians. So in 2006, every single person that was in Waka's cancer ward in Japan all died within a year of getting out. All of them. Everyone. Waka's cancer was supposed to take her out. She had a 50-50 shot of living 5 years. She made it 12. And we dedicated ourselves, both of us, to living better lives, cleaner, better lives. And okay, I've been having a problem in my home because of this radio tower. It's affecting me. I have tinnitus in my ear I didn't have before. And it goes away when I'm out of that house. I've been having issues with the super duper Wi-Fi. I bought one of those Netgear, Nighthawk, kick-ass, supposed to be able to route fucking anything and Wi-Fi fucking anything in your house. That shit was fucking up my sleep patterns. It was fucking up my sleep patterns. It was messing with me. I've had to learn to turn it off when I go to bed at night. You know what I mean? There's a huge difference in how I'm able to sleep and how I wake up in the morning with the goddamn router turned off. You know what I mean? And we are creatures of magnetism, and these things are real. We have a magnetic field that surrounds us.
Yep.
So the issue of this, here's what I'll say. The only thing I'm going to say about the vaccine publicly, it's real simple. This is a very simple fact. Ladies and gentlemen, the flu vaccine has never, ever, ever even been 50% effective. That's a fact. It has never, ever been even 50%. That's a flip of a quarter, guys.
Yep.
Flip of a quarter. Never even gotten. It has never even been 50% effective. Yet they want you to inject this shit in you every year. 2, this new vaccine. There's been no, okay, Pfizer has been fined more than any other drug company for the amount of people they have knowingly injured by releasing their products to the market and using their salespeople to create a bigger market for it, especially when you talk about opiates and painkillers. Their job is to make money, and they obviously do not care. Okay, I'll sum it up with this, guys. If you buy a car and the car manufacturer knew it's going to blow up on you, but you can't sue the car manufacturer when it blows up on you and burns your children and your kids walking around with a melted off face, are you going to buy that car? It's simple. Are you going to buy the car that if you get hurt due to its defects, you've got nobody to sue? There's nobody responsible. No one's going to pay for your injured child. No one's going to pay for your injured mother. No one's going to pay for your injured husband. No one will pay. You're the one stuck. And are you going to buy that car? Serious, RJ, are you going to buy that car?
Absolutely not.
Are you going to buy the car that is known for an experimental battery that will blow up in your garage sitting there and burn your house down? And you can't sue nobody, but you know that's a factor.
Yeah, well, in fact, I did not buy that car in terms of we're speaking. So I'm
well, I'm trying to avoid being banned. I'm trying to avoid being censored. I'm already running. There's art. Okay.
My friend George calls him potato chip.
I'm getting threats again. Because of Netflix's special, I'm getting threats again. All right. So people are writing shitty shit, and I'm getting threats again. And I'm concerned for some of the people I care about. It's happening all again. Thank you, Netflix. Thank you so much for your shitty bullshit portrayal of my work and the work of my artist who did great work. Nelson Danielson out of Canada, who did the Dahmer Zombie Squad and did Jeffrey Dahmer versus Jesus Christ, has just delivered to me a great new pinup for this campaign that's going to go in the book. All these assholes, I'm dealing with this because of these dicks. So I'm trying to really avoid being put into that hodgepodge of bullshit and being focused on, this is what I'm about. I'm about this book. I'm about this. Frankly, if we get into lockdown, part of the reason my mother is dead is because they delayed her emergency brain surgery for almost 3 months over their concerns that COVID was collecting in her sinus cavity because they had to go through the nose to get to the tumor. So in my opinion, my mother would be alive today if it was not for how they handled the lockdown. Now that's a whole other argument, and I really want to avoid getting into that right now. It's just a fact. They did not have proper aftercare for her. They, in our meeting with them, they said, normally we'd have you in surgery next week on Tuesday. And they delayed it almost 3 months. Her aftercare was shit.
Crazy time.
Yeah, I was not able to go visit her after her care because when you are in surgery, it's very important who shows up for you when you're recovering. I was not allowed to go see her or do any of that. And I repeatedly, as I'm going to the emergency rooms and dealing with this stuff, I kept seeing people with no masks, and they were doctors and nurses and all that shit. But I want to avoid getting caught up in that argument. I want to focus on Dahmer. It's bad enough I'm getting lied about over Dahmer. The last thing I need is some asshole to, he's an anti-vaxxer.
Well, let us talk about Dahmer.
Yeah.
Here's going way back. You're running Boneyard Press, and you're making horror comics. What apple falls off the tree, and where are you sitting when it happens? When you're like, a Dahmer biography. That's what we'll do.
It wasn't my idea. It was Dan Matson at North Star. Okay.
His fault then.
It wasn't his fault. It was the media's fault. And I have a deep hatred for all you assholes in the mass media that lie. You know you lie, and you hurt people, and your talk show mills hurt people, and you profit off their pain on purpose. And you point the finger at a guy like me who ain't making shit, who isn't flying the victims' families out to your show so you could upset them live. That's Sally Jesse. That's Jerry Springer. That's those folks. That is NBC, ABC, CBS. That is Netflix. Netflix didn't give a shit about upsetting the victims' families. Netflix didn't give a fuck. But they sure have a good time pointing their finger at me and saying I'm this terrible person because I upset them. You think they're happy to see this shit 30 years later? They thought they buried it. And did they get paid? No, I'm sure you didn't pay them a goddamn dime, you sons of bitches at Netflix, you cheap pieces of shit. I was on this other show the other day, and I was talking to a filmmaker, and the filmmaker said to me, Hart, are you afraid to sue Netflix? Aren't you afraid to sue them because don't you want to work with them? Not if they're going to fuck me. Not if they're going to fuck me over. Not if they're going to hire me to fuck over other people. Then no, I don't really want to work with these a-holes. No, I don't. And if they're not going to pay the unions what they're worth, if they're not going to pay the creators what they're worth, If they're going to hijack things and steal things, they're just going to show their own corporate desperations. They become the new Disney. They're just one more giant that I'm going to hit right in the middle of the forehead with my rock, because I'm Harry Hippie David.
Are you thinking about suing them?
Fuck yeah. No, I've been talking to lawyers like crazy. You kidding me? Hell yeah, I've been talking to lawyers. Fuck yeah.
We're burying the lead here.
It's really about, like, I've got a lot of irons in the fire. So sometimes you look at yourself like, okay, here's an example. I beat Marvel Comics in court over copyright infringement over my title, Dark Angel. Then later on, there was an issue with John Cameron did the Dark Angel TV series. I think it was for Fox. So,
yeah, 2 seasons, James Cameron.
Yeah, so my feeling was there confusion in the marketplace? Yes. Did I have legal grounds to go sue him? Yeah, hell yeah, I did. Did I want to spend the next 2 years fucking around in court with this, or did I want to get these comics out when I knew his TV show was going to get canceled? I knew it wasn't going to last, man. I knew it wasn't going to last. So have I been looking to lawyers?
Really different from each other.
It's not that they're different. It's about you're appropriating my title. You're appropriating my title that I've already won. You know, this is my title.
2 seasons. He had 1 season, and then the second season, they weren't even like the same show anymore.
Well, what I mean is I'm at a comic convention, and I'm sitting there staring at giant banners for Dark Angel while I'm selling Dark Angel comic books.
You should have just gotten in line for James Cameron and given him a copy.
Nah. I just felt like the show's going to get canceled. It's going to disappear. I was busy with other stuff. You know, I just decided, I'm not going to bother.
You know,
who's Alex Stein? What is Made in Hell talking about?
Alex Stein is doing what he's doing for similar reasons. Hart, I have no idea who Alex Stein is. Let me do a quick Google. But I did talk with Lou Scheimer. You know, Lou Scheimer did the Filmation. Because he did. I have no idea who he is. There's a comedian and there's a musical artist. But Lou Scheimer had this series, live action series in early 70s with Larry Storch and Forrest Tucker called Ghostbusters.
Okay.
Yeah, and when he heard that Columbia was doing this, he got on the phone with them, and he said they were all like, well, yeah, Saturday morning animated. He's like, live action. I'm like, oh, live action. And they cut a deal with him to where, he was going to get a percentage of the profits. And he's like, it's a funny thing, that movie didn't make any profit. So he never saw a dime from the Ghostbusters stuff. And then when they went on to do Filmation said, okay, well, we'll bring back our Ghostbusters and we'll have a cartoon series. I don't know how much into animation you are, but there was a competing time in history where you had Filmation's Ghostbusters and the real Ghostbusters, one based on the movie, one based on the old Saturday morning show. On at the same time.
I have those on VHS.
Well, there you go. Then you know the two.
Yes, I do. Oh God,
you know how to open the door, Pops. You don't have to bang on the window. Just come on in.
Well,
I always wait to be invited, bro.
Oh, hey, Pops is here. Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, we're rolling. You know what's up. I see we need more backers on this, guys.
We need more backers, man.
We're gonna get more backers, guys. This is a marathon, all right? Okay. Hey, fans at home. I know people with money. I could have gamed the system. I could have called up about 4 or 5 guys and I said, I need this from you. I need this from you. And I know motherfuckers who've done that, all right? I knew people in Los Angeles who did that. I knew people in LA that raised $150,000, that raised $135,000. And no, it ain't Billy and it ain't Brian, all right? These are different dudes. And I know they totally gamed the fucking system, man. I know they gamed the system when they had their shit done. I know they used the money from their fucking fundraiser to go buy a fucking car. I know those people, all right? Uh-oh. I'm at my girlfriend's apartment. I'm waiting for her to get home from work. So, because my internet sucks. So I know these people game the system. So my thing is, part of this for me is an experiment. It is an experiment for me to figure out what is the true interest in this, not gaming the algorithm. Hey, babe. So I have been avoiding gaming the algorithm. I'm trying to figure out an honest campaign, a real campaign. And frankly, for the Dahmer book, I was going to do this next year. I wasn't going to do this right now. We weren't ready to do this. I was busy on other projects. And I was delayed because of launching an American Horror's Classic channel. But now, because of especially their negative portrayal, especially the way they threw me under the bus yet again, they threw me under the fucking bus. So I felt like I had to do it now. I had to do it now while everybody's talking about it, not a year later when no one's talking about the special. So for anybody who's like, Hart, why didn't you get built? And like, I couldn't, motherfucker. Okay, me and RJ were talking about this earlier, Pops, but when you're in the movie business and you're in the television business, there are some times where you as a director have had this labor of love and this thing you've been working on. You got your feature film, it's Star Wars, blah, 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 but you're stuck in post-production. So you've got to run off to go do that Jason Voorhees movie because you're stuck in post over here. But does that mean you just fucking stop? No, you don't fucking stop. You keep going and you keep it all going. And that's how real entertainment works. Not this notion that if your campaign didn't make it in 2 days, you're dead. That's a lie. That's a lie. They're trying to game you into their bullshit system. It takes time. People are distracted. You got to get out there. You got to let people know, hey, this isn't your usual cheeseburger. This is a jalapeno beef burger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. This is the real deal. And that shit that they're trying to feed you on Netflix is some Quasimodo shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anybody that knows your history knows that you were all up in this, that you went out and defended your position on all this a long time ago, and that you shouldn't have to again.
It's true. I really
should. Somebody on the other side is trying to exploit a victim that you got dragged back into this shit.
I purposely avoided reprinting these books, guys. I purposely buried these books, okay? I made a decision to walk away from this. And money people, greedy people have been all over me. I had some people that were working with me on the Build a Bull campaign, and they didn't give a shit about it. They only wanted to get a cut of the Dahmer. The whole time we're meeting and talking, they just want Dahmer. They want to be on Dahmer. They want to be consultants on Dahmer. You know, Dahmer's the easy money. Dahmer. And I don't want to work with somebody like that. These books are important to me. I did these books for something far more than fucking money. They're very important to me. They're a piece of my emotional history. They're a piece of my family history. And my family paid for these books. My mother paid the price of her son publishing these works. So if you think you're going to walk in and just get it the easy way, you can go fuck yourself. I'm not Hart. Thank you, ma'am, Fisher. I'm Hart. Fuck you, Fisher. Okay. I'm Hart fucking Fisher. I'm the guy who fucks. I'm not the guy who sits around and gets fucked. Okay. So if there's anybody whispering out there, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. This is real entertainment. This is real professionalism. And sometimes things happen because I had no idea the Dahmer thing was in development. I had no idea it was coming out. And earlier in the show, I mentioned I had this cancer scare in September. I had a really bad cancer scare. I was really sick. It really fucked me up. It was tough. It was really knocking me out. And I was scared. I'll admit it. I was really scared. And at the same time, I'm dealing with my mother passed last year. So I'm dealing with her property. I'm dealing with her estate. I'm representing my brother. My brother's in Los Angeles. So I have to be there for both of us. You get what I mean? I have to look out. I have to be big brother. And it's a lot, man. It's a lot. It's a fucking lot. And now I'm having to move the studio. The American Horror's office is going to have to move. What did you do, woman? Did you come in here with food? Can I have some of that? Yeah. They'll let me eat on the air.
I gotta go. I'm hungry.
God.
I'm gonna be
Holy
going in a
shit, the
second,
woman
too. I'm
brought me
hungry,
food. Yay.
All right. Well,
But does that help, Pops? Does that help explain some stuff?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, I already know what's going on, but I mean, I don't think a lot of people understand that. Like you said, you wouldn't even be doing this if they didn't drag you back out into the spotlight.
It's double jeopardy.
Yeah.
It's like
Damned if I do, damned if I
you
don't.
don't. So you might as well do, and do it your way, and do it where you can defend your position from a solid foundation. You know,
It was the whole reason people were like, "Hey, Hart, you know, you're miserable when you do those talk shows. It's obvious that you hate it, and it's awful. It's so exploitive. It is such a dirty feeling. When you go do one of these talk shows, you need a fucking hot shower and a fucking antibiotics after you're done. It's disgusting." And so people be like, "Hart, why do you put yourself through it?" Because the quote good guys were paid to be there. I didn't get paid. I had to take time off of work. I had to fly out to New York. The other people that were yelling and screaming at me got paid to be there. They were making money off of playing the victim.
yeah, they got
Oh, they
flown,
victimized
they got
me.
flown there. They got put up in a hotel. They got paid to be there. You
Yep.
had to foot the bill to go defend yourself.
Yeah, although they did foot the bill for me to get there. Okay. They didn't pay me to be there, but I had to take time off of work and take time off of my business to go do this. So what would happen is the only way I could, when you're on the E channel or you're on CNN headline news, I've kept saying this over and over and over and over again. I'm the man behind the curtain in Oz, okay? You're being manipulated. You cannot believe any fucking thing the fucking mass media tells you. Hey, remember when Tylenol was safe? Hey,
Yeah.
remember it was good to take an aspirin a day, was good for your heart? Remember that? Gee whiz. Now they act like they're telling you the truth, but they're lying through their teeth. We know they're lying through their teeth. They've been lying through their teeth. Their news organizations are now profit motivated. In the 70s, sure, you had the MLK Ultra programs and you had our government was involved in monitoring what's going on in television and all that. But now it's so blatant. It is so blatant with the Mockingbird programs. You cannot believe what they tell you. And when I would do these interviews on these news shows, they would say, okay, they would edit it so that the answer to, hey, Hart, why do you like horror movies? Well, I like it bloody and mean. I love it when that guy comes out with the machete and hits him in the head. Well, now that's the answer to, hey, Hart, why did you do the comic? Well, I love it bloody and mean. I like it when the guy with the machete hits him in the head. That's a disingenuous statement. It is a manipulation of the truth. It's a fucking lie. And the only way for me to get my answers out to people was to go through the gauntlet and get on those shows. And then once I started kicking their ass on those shows, they didn't want me on their shows no more.
Oh, Sally Jesse didn't want you back ever.
No, not at all.
Oh shit, he broke the code.
Well, I got bumped from Donahue after that. So like I was supposed to be on Donahue the week after that Sally show, but I destroyed her. So they bumped me, and everybody else that was on that Sally show was on the Donahue show.
Jeez, that's so okay. Tried in absentia. It's a lot easier to paint you as the villain when you're not there to defend yourself, dude.
That's what they're doing now with the Netflix special. Look how terrible these comics are. We're not going to tell you who wrote it. We're not going to tell you where you can find out for yourself. We're just going to tell you.
We're going to change the cover, which should be some kind of illegal. Just saying.
The illegal thing is they didn't ask. I get why changing the cover. I get it. You got an actor. You want your stuff to match.
Then what about the Dahmer versus Christ cover?
That's
That
when
was
you
stupid.
make your own motherfucking cover and don't try to misrepresent the guy who actually did it.
Yeah. Well, they'd have still said it was the same book because they were trying to,
That's
Well, they're
fine.
portraying
They
it as
would
that
have been
book. Here's the problem.
misrepresenting
Now
Hart's
I'm
book.
talking my case out, and I know because I've dealt with lawyers. I walked away from my plagiarism lawsuit with Gerard Way for My Chemical Romance because it was affecting my wife's health. So I know a lot about litigation, plagiarism, defamation of character, misrepresenting somebody's work. I know a lot about this because I've done a lot of satire. So I know the law. And I do think that Netflix is suable. I do think I have an actionable case, but I got to find the right lawyer and see what they say because I have my experience. I don't know what changes have happened in the law since the last time I got involved in this. I don't know. But am I talking to lawyers about this? Yes, I am. You have to. You always have to. You must defend yourself. Every creator. How about this? You guys wondered why the Umbrella Academy is not coming back to Netflix?
It's not?
I don't believe it is. I believe it got
I
cut.
don't wonder, but
Well, you know, there's certain creators out there that have a history of plagiarism, that have a history of lying. So once you're a long-term creator and you have a long-term history of lying, misrepresenting your work, misrepresenting where your work came from, it gets worse and worse in court. Get what I mean?
It's still coming back for season 4 as recently as August.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and October. Potential release date for season 4.
Maybe they settled that lawsuit out of court that I was aware of and helped out on.
if you helped out, they should have let you know that they settled it out of court.
It's been busy. They don't have to tell me. It wasn't on my behalf. I was helping.
So that you don't go out and say the wrong thing after the fact. They should have informed you. I'm just saying.
I'm smart enough to know what to say. There's a creator out there in comics whose work was misappropriated. I've been working with the lawyers to help them. They've been working with me on my case because, you know, I've been busy, but, you know, you're always going to have to pay hell. Devil's going to get his due no matter what. And I guess I am the devil of comics, aren't I?
You're one of them.
Well, according to Mania magazine, Mania.com said that if Stan Lee, Alan Moore, and Jack Kirby were the saints of the industry, then Hart Fisher is the devil. And I am.
Fisher. Man, I know people that are...
I've seen
I
that
know
quote.
dude that carries the fucking name. Lucifer Storm. I think he'd own it.
You had Lucifer and Hart on at the same time. It was a 4.5-hour stream.
Yeah. You see?
He's just a minor little fella. He's cute.
Yeah, he's
when you call
he's
yourself Lucifer, or perhaps you name yourself the Lord, he's having fun. Lucifer Storm is a great pen name. That's a great pen name. I'm curious at his writing, because if you're going to have a pen name that good, your writing better be awesome. Yeah.
It is awesome, brother.
Good?
It is awesome. Ed Gein, Demon Hunter.
I know, I'm familiar.
Oh, good stuff, bro.
Yeah, that's what we
all
were
the way
promoting
through
when he
book
was on
3
there.
is good stuff. Okay, it's only a 4-book series, but the first 3.
One of my associates, Pops, one of my associates that I used to hang out with in the satanic community, they stole Ed Gein's tombstone.
Okay, look.
And they took it on tour for the Angry White Male tour.
The other day, Lucifer told the chat, or, you know, on our stream, he said if anybody can send him a bag of dirt from Ed's grave, you know, video, peel up the turf, peel up the turf, get some dirt, put it in a baggie, and send it to him, that he would give them his books for life.
I got to look through my boxes because I have some Ed Gein grave dirt. I have some, but not a whole bag. I got like more of a small box.
Yeah.
Oh
but that's God. You know, I mean, that's the kind of stuff we love. This kind of shit, people. It's all of it. The fan interaction, the fun, the parody of these kind of characters. All this shit is supposed to be fun, and when people fuck it up over feelings, it ruins it for everybody else.
Pops, it's not really about that. We have to understand that these folks are manipulating folks. Okay. These artificial victims have no talent. They have no way to get attention. They have no way to get anybody to listen to them. But if they go out there and they complain and they say, how could you do this about Ed Gein? How could you do this about that? all of a sudden they're given a platform. Like, do you guys hear me talk about my enemies in the business? No, because when I name my demons, I give my demons power. When you name your James Bond villain, you give that villain power. Part of this thing with Netflix is they're afraid to name me because they know I'm more powerful than them. They lack gravitas. They lack truth. I have that. They lack that. They do not have that. Sure, they've got a platform for money. Yeah, well, money's the devil's tool. It's the whore's favorite platform, money. So for myself, they're terrified of anybody discovering me. They're terrified of discovering my truth. They're terrified of me encouraging people to stand up to power. That's what I do. You stand up to power.
And
Crowdfunding is important.
People like us who let you come out and talk and tell your story.
Well, we're all part of the same group. You know, we're all part of the same thing. Like for me as a comic publisher, I understand that the retailer is my friend. The retailer is part of my sales force. So the store isn't my enemy. They're part of my team. So the people that enabled me to get my voice out there, they're part of my team. They're not my enemy. So when we all need each other, because no one's going to tune into you guys if you don't have something cool to talk about or something that you're excited about, it won't matter. And so when you guys bring on a guest like me and you're like, holy shit, we got Hart Fisher here with this Dahmer book that hasn't seen print in 30 years. And it's so important that it's brought up and messed with for this Netflix special. And you, the people at home, have a chance to be an influence in this. You know, your vote didn't fucking count in the last election. The fuck it did. It fucking didn't. But your dollar counts. Your fucking dollar counts. You want to know what counts? Your fucking money counts. So you want to vote? Vote for this book. Vote against these corporate interests that want to shit on all us regular people. It's not the little guy. It's all of us. All of us regular people. They're shitting on all of us. So this notion.
They'll still let you vote with your dollar.
Yeah, so vote with your dollar. Get yourself a big book of Dahmer right now. You're going to want it. It's the kind of thing that, like, they go, oh, it's perfect for your coffee table. Yeah, it is, man. You definitely want this big book of Dahmer on your coffee table. You want to make a rebellious statement. You want to fuck with your kids. You've got kids that are coming home from college and they're super woke. Put this goddamn thing on the table at Christmas.
Look, I figure the kids probably, you know, they're hit and miss whether they know who Jeffrey Dahmer are. But grandma's going to know.
No, you'd be surprised. The younger generation is very well informed. Everybody wants to portray them as being ignorant, is wrong. They have access to more information than any of us ever had. So I think, especially for a kid, if a kid's heard about this, like a lot of my fans are like, man, my older brother read your stuff and loved it, but my mom wouldn't let me anywhere near that book.
I'm saying, Grandma wouldn't.
You want to get this. This is the taboo material that you're going to go, oh, yeah, okay, I can see why this fucked with people. Oh, yeah, this is going to mess with Aunt Jane. Aunt Jane's going to be really upset over this one. Oh, my God, that one finger wagging Karen that was yelling at me at the grocery store because I wouldn't wear my mask when her nose is sticking out over her mask.
You got people going to be mad because Jesus wins.
Oh, yeah.
There will be people mad. I bet. Do you think the Satanists are going to be pissed at me that Jesus wins?
Do you see what I'm saying? There's going to be people that are out here and they're going to talk long shit about this. And then they're going to find out that, oh, Jesus won? Oh, shit. I must have sounded really stupid when I was talking about that.
No, they never say that. Hart, this is the big book of Dahmer. And I'm saying, you know, it's big because it's like a compendium. But when you mentioned putting it on the coffee table, is it going to be a big book of Dahmer, or is it going to stick to the standard length by width dimensions?
Well, for this particular one, I feel it should be comic book sized.
Okay.
So it's a trade paperback, comic book sized, 6.75 by 10.55 or 9.
Yep. You got the numbers. Those are decimals.
Like that, yeah.
Because I was just formatting. We've got this limited edition cover that Andrew and his son,
Gabriel.
Yes, Gabriel Mangum. How do I say that last name? Is it Mangum?
Mangum, yes. Mangum.
Like mangrove, Mangum.
Mangum, yeah.
I want some gum that tastes like man. I want some man gum.
Man, yeah, there you go. That's what it is, mango. Mangum.
Yeah, those guys did an amazing cover for me for the limited edition where I'm ripping Dahmer apart. That is going to go up as a perk tonight. So, like, even though I've got this really cute girl here who wants me to molest her, she's going to have to wait till after I get this shit updated.
Poor girl.
Oh, Abby. Oh, no. Oh, Abby.
She'll get by. Hart,
Andrew,
it's getting
for those
late
of you
here.
who don't
I'm
know,
hungry.
Andrew and Gabriel Mangum, father-son art team, those guys fucking kill it, yo.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I had my friend over. We were mocking up it was so cute. They were so adorable. It was lovely. They were adorable. Like, Hart, do you have anybody that could mock up the cover? Do you have anybody who could put the logos on? And I'm like, I do all that. I've been doing all that for 30 fucking years. It's me. I do it. So it's mocking up the cover and putting the logos on and stuff and getting it together. So all that's going to go up. Like RJ and his people have given me some good constructive feedback for me to update the campaign and help make it more to communicate better what we have.
We want it to sell. We want this thing to sell to the roof.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
we're getting there, guys. We're getting there.
There's a fucking serial killer community group out there this is all they live for. Why haven't they seen this campaign? And
have you posted in it?
I haven't posted in it.
Well, you goddamn should. It's crowdfunding, you son of a bitch. You're going to have me on your fucking radio show. Share the fucking campaign. What the fuck is wrong with you, RJ?
I used to work with this chick, and I won't say where because I don't want to give the company any nationally known company. But it's like BTK was her jam. You mentioned BTK. She's like, her nipples showed through her shirt. And
by torture kill.
Yeah. And there's this story that came out while I was working with her about this mortuary, and they were like supposed to be burning the people, and giving their ashes, and people were getting ashes, and then the bodies of the victims were being found in the woods behind the house because there was like this necrophilia thing going on. And she was just giddy about that. She was one of these people that, Kim, if you're watching, you want this big book of Jeffrey Dahmer.
I think so. It's honestly, let's be real here. This book is the most infamous comic book of our modern publishing age, period. It has been talked about more than the death of Superman. It has been talked about more than the hideous. Okay, DC Comics, ladies and gentlemen, you have no moral high ground when you took Robin and you put it up to vote whether he should die or not.
Yeah.
You have no moral high ground. You took an underage child character, DC Comics. Thank you, Woke DC. Thank you, Woke DC. You took an underage child and you had audiences vote on whether or not that child should be murdered. So DC, you've got no moral high ground. The people who support DC, you have no moral high ground. None at all.
Plus, I want my $1.97 back because I voted to kill him and they brought him back.
Hold up. Take responsibility for your own shitty stories. Don't put it on the fans.
Oh, yeah, that too.
How about that? Because that was a shitty story. It was a shitty story.
Well, the whole Crisis on Infinite Earths is garbage. I'm not a fan of that stuff. I'm just not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of Secret Wars. I don't think that you guys are really clever by doing, oh, look, it's Joker, Demon, Vampire, Batman. That's not very original, guys. It's just bullshit. It's boring. I think they're lost, and I'm really excited to see what happens with James Gunn firmly in the reins. But then again, with these corporate assholes, you never know what's going to happen. But I'm a big fan of what James Gunn has done. I've met James. I've talked to James. I loved his Tromeo and Juliet for Troma Pictures.
That was him?
Really...
Oh, shit. I didn't know that was him.
Yeah, James Gunn has got a long history of doing controversial work, and he has some of the best dialogue. Come on, like I really think James is one of the best superhero writer directors out there because I wrote off Guardians of the Galaxy until I found out James was doing it.
This is my second trauma connection of the week here. I started out on Monday with Alexandra Sadagian, who's doing
Guns of Eden.
Shakespeare Shitstorm with Trauma right now.
Well, if you guys need to see a true trauma film that lives up to the Toxic Avenger, you need to watch The Taint. Taint, The Taint.
Oh. Okay, I'll put it on the list. I'll ask you about
No, you're going to put it on the top of the list, and here's why.
Okay.
It's all about a mad scientist that invents a super powerful Viagra that turns everybody into like giant monster cock, rapey, serial killer dudes with monster erections running around murdering people. And it's a spoof of all these 80s movies.
Okay. I like that stuff.
You're going to laugh. Pops, you especially. It's a 3-toke below the line kind of thing.
Okay, I'm telling Brian about it. Does it qualify as a horror movie?
Yeah, definitely. The kills in it are great. It's fucking fantastic. And you're never going to see this many psychopathic killers running around with erect cocks. That's why you need to contribute today to the Jeffrey Dahmer Big Book of Dahmer omnibus. This Big Book of Dahmer is really good stuff, guys. It just keeps getting better. Like the more I talk to people, the more artists get involved. It just keeps getting better. That's why I keep adding cool perks.
Now, when I saw Ethan Van Sciver was going to contribute to this, I was like, oh, that's going to be cool. But then I saw he's writing the epitaph. I don't know Ethan for his writing. I know him for his art. I thought he was going to like draw an image or something, but
I've been okay. I always study the lay of the land. So as I've been getting back into crowdfunding, you know, I spent a lot of time. A lot of guys were really working on me. Like Buzz was really on me to do this. Max has been on me to do this. You know, I watched what I went and I studied a bunch of Brian Polito's campaigns to see what he was about. And then I took a hard look at what Billy Tucci was doing. And then, you know, I gave Deborah a call. I reached out to Billy and I reached out to Deborah and I've also reached out to Linsner and his wife, Christina. And so I did my research where I talked to people I knew to find out, well, what do you like? What do you don't like? What's the pitfalls? What do I got to do? And Deborah was actually really amazing. And also so was Dan Fraga. I was talking to Dan recently about this campaign and we were going over what I'm doing with the Dahmer thing. And everybody wanted me to do it kind of the standard way, but everybody also agreed that the Netflix special really forced my hand and really it forced me to do it now. Everybody's like, no, Hart, you got to do it now, man. You gotta do it now. You got to go now.
Dan is a really nice guy too. I love Dan Fraga. He's a good dude. Pretty much everybody you mentioned, Billy, Brian, these are all fucking awesome people, man. You know, great people to model a campaign after.
God, I was reading about Billy and Bo Smith's shin kicking contest, and I'm like, fuck, that sounds terrible. But also I'm like, ooh, all my Muay Thai practice, I could really do good at that. But I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
People in the
I love
chat
those guys. I love, you know, the Tucci's are really good people. They're solid. There's a lot to be said that in America, when you start demonizing somebody because they're a Catholic, when you start demonizing somebody because they're a Jew, when you start demonizing somebody because they're a Trump supporter, well, you're an asshole.
Yep.
You're a fucking asshole. You are. So our country is founded on the notion that our ancestors came here to worship freely. And our country's
away
is
from
one of
that
the
shit,
only. We have one of the only, like, okay, we talk about Max, and he's a war veteran, and Max and I have talked about this, and I've talked about this with other vets I know and other military people I know. I work with a lot of military people, and the notion of I didn't swear to fight a war. I swore to uphold the Constitution of America. And like Max, free speech is really important. The most important free speech is to protect is the outlaw speech. The unpopular speech is the most important speech to protect, period, because we're supposed to be a nation of ideas, a nation where you are able to practice your religious freedom, because people were murdered for not worshiping correctly. So if you're going to scream at Ethan because he's a Trump supporter, you're no different than somebody screaming at someone because they have Jewish friends.
Do you think that's what Kanye West is trying to do in some bizarre way? Is show that we don't have free speech by?
I don't pay attention to Kanye because Kanye is a distraction from all the shit they're fucking us with in this country.
I don't know how he got where he is.
What's more important, the railroad strike that might happen, or something some bullshit celebrity said on Twitter? What's more important around the country? The fucking railroad strike. The fucking railroad strike that might happen right now, that might cripple our fucking economy, is the thing we should be fucking focused on, not what some fucking rapper said on Twitter. Do you hear me? It isn't important.
He said it on Twitter. He
It's
said
not
it
going to
on
feed
Alex
your kids.
fucking Jones, man. But the point
ain't going to feed your kids, guys.
This guy is a sensationalist. All he does is come out and do something stupid for relevance once in a while.
Stop, Pops. He's a tool of the mass media to distract you from all the billions going to the Ukraine instead of our country.
Taylor Swift.
It's a distraction.
He's been doing this shit
Means
for 2
nothing.
decades. It ain't got nothing to do with the now. This is who he is.
No, Kanye is a tool. A tool. And then people say, oh, it's an insult. No, he's a weapon to distract you from what is happening. No different than the gaslighting. They say, oh, Hart Fishers. Oh, they don't even say Hart because they don't want you to be able to examine who I am. They misrepresent my comic book, so you do not examine their own actions. They misrepresent my books and provide the viewer at home a pre-prepared villain. I'm a pre-prep villain. I'm Uncle Ben's rice villain. Put me in the microwave and I'm there. I'm a long-haired white man with blue eyes who's victimizing poor black crime victims. Look out, Uncle Ben's pre-made villain. You feel me? So this Kanye thing is no different. They've been using gangster rap and the black man to scare white America for decades. Kanye means nothing. How about we talk about why are we doing embargoes with the Ukraine? Did anybody embargo America because we invaded Iraq? No. Did anybody embargo us because we invaded Afghanistan? No. We're going political here, and this is actually my forte, guys. Be careful about dragging me into this place, because they want to distract you with what the explosive thing this celebrity said. Oh, look out, this celebrity slapped that celebrity at the Oscars. Never mind the fact that there are thousands of rape kits. You know what a rape kit is? A rape kit is something that is used to help you prosecute a rapist. There are thousands upon thousands of these kits that have expired because our government does not want to spend the money to process these rape kits, to put these active rapists in prisons. So does our government care about sex crimes against women? If you judge by their actions, they obviously do not. If you look at what's happening with what's going on with our criminal justice system, they do not care about the victim of violent crime at all. They're just a means to an end. So, Pops, I don't give a fuck about Kanye. I don't give a fuck about Kim Kardashian. I don't give a fuck.
To get attention.
I'm concerned with the fact of shadow banning. I'm concerned that, hey guys, do you think perhaps there's a shadow ban on my campaign?
Well, I can test that right now.
Yeah, it's really easy.
No, what I mean is this. When I say shadow banning, how come not one major media company, not one newspaper, not one comic book news site has mentioned I'm doing this?
Have
Isn't
you
it new?
sent out any press releases? Because I get ignored if I don't send out a press release.
Guys, who am I? Who worked in advertising?
No, I'm serious.
Guys,
RJ
who
don't
worked in
pay my shit
advertising?
if I don't send him a
Who
press
is known as the king of shameless self-promotion?
Who?
You think me? I'm known as that in the comic book industry. You think I got all this coverage on accident? It's not an accident.
So where's Bleeding
Something's
Cool
going
at
on.
this?
Hmm?
So where's Bleeding Cool at on this? You should have.
That's what I said. Have you
They've
sent
written
anybody a
articles
press
on me.
release?
Why hasn't Bleeding Cool written anything? Why has not Comic Book Resources written anything on me? When you say, did you send out a press release? Who the fuck are you talking to, Pops? I'm Hart fucking Fisher. I'm the fucking king of shameless self-promotion. Oh, my fucking motherfucker.
I think that's a yes, Pops.
Okay.
I have a
I
professional
asked
publicist.
a simple fucking question. You don't got to get all freaked out, dude.
Pops.
Fuck.
I'm a professional, and I have a professional publicist on the payroll. And so the publicist has been sending out the PR. Now, why has the entire horror community, why has the entire news community, why has the entire comic books community ignored the launch of a book they've wanted for 30 years that's on the biggest hit serial killer special Netflix has ever done? Why have you not read about that anywhere?
I don't know why.
We wrote about it.
No, you guys know what I'm talking about. Don't be facetious. We're getting real here. Be honest. Why is the Chicago Sun-Times not writing about this?
I can only speak to why I have you on my show. I can't speak to what others do. Okay? Because their motivation could be money. It could be animosity toward you. It could be not wanting to touch the subject matter. It could be any number of things.
The
I know
Sun-Times
why
doesn't
I
give a
have
shit
you
about
on
comic
my
books.
show is because I believe that everybody should have their voice.
We're not talking about your show, Pops. We're
Well, I'm just
talking
saying,
about,
I don't
okay,
have you
if
send
you're a
me
marketing
something to
person,
print.
you're a person who understands how this stuff works. I'm seeing conspicuous blackout here. And my people brought it to my attention first. My marketing people brought this up, and they've been talking about it since 2020. When the news came out about Billie Eilish being this 4-time Grammy winner, and they were all wondering, why is she so dark? Why is Billie so dark? Why does she have this video with the spiders? And we started coming forward, and I realized, wow, that's the person who grew up next door to me, because I didn't think of her as Billie Eilish. To me, she was the Billy Go Gruff. So as we went out there during a news blackout, when nothing was happening in entertainment, my friends were like, man, Hart, there's a weird blackout on you. And these are media people. These are publicists. These are newspaper people. These are active journalists. These are people that are professionals. And they're going, wow, Hart, there's some kind of weird blackout on you, man. I don't understand why no one's taking a bite of this. And we have a salacious topic here. The Dahmer book is salacious. It is juicy. It is yummy. So how come it has not been picked up? Okay, when I did the Dahmer books 30 years ago, I did all the AM radio. I did all the FM radio. Hey, we're wacky morning, GJ. We got the Dahmer guy here. This
Yeah,
stuff
but
hasn't
that was
changed.
because it was a Dahmer thing and Dahmer was hot. Now it's just a comic book. And
No,
nobody gives a shit about
it's the
comic
same thing. Hey, you saw him on the Netflix special and you didn't hear the full story. We got him right. No, you guys, you're really not in the professional sphere of this. I've been in this for a long time, 30 fucking years, guys. NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, Headline News, Eon OJ, all of it. My people who've been with me for a long time are all going, man, Hart, there's some kind of weird blacklist on you. There is some kind of weird blacklist. And if it wasn't for you guys, nobody would be talking about this. If it wasn't for your shows, if it wasn't for you, Pops, if it wasn't for Ethan, if it wasn't for Max, I'd be completely blacked out. No one, not one news site has ever run anything about American Horrors, the TV network. Okay, that's a big deal. The fact that I had 8 million viewers last year, average watch time 32 minutes per viewer, that's fucking news. But there is a blackout on me. There is, if you go do a search on American Horrors, you're going to get American Horror Story, American Horror Story, American Horror Story, American Horror Story. You get me? And it's because of shows like yours that they've had a hard time censoring me. It's because of my TV show, because of my TV network. They've had a hard time censoring me. They're trying. They're trying really hard. And it's why I ask the people watching and listening, I need your help. I'm saying it. I've been blacklisted. They're trying to ban me. They're trying to wipe me out of comics history. And I need you guys, the crowdfunders, the people at home, the people hearing this. I need you to share the campaign. If you're broke, I get it. Money's tight, man. Money's tight. Food costs a lot. Gas costs a lot. Fucking share the campaign. Talk about the campaign. Share the interviews. The fucking TV network is free, motherfucker. It's fucking free. Watch American Horrors. It won't cost you a goddamn thing. You get me? And so this is a crowd revolution.
If you
Crowd
know any of
revolution.
the podcasters here that are doing shows about serial killers, reach out to them because these are the top-rated serial killer podcasts. Tell them, hey,
I would, if you've got a list for me to reach out to. I've been hitting the true crime groups, but I really honestly think people are afraid to bring me on.
I don't know why. When your internet's up, you got a lot to say.
And this is my whole thing. It's like, you guys remember when Reddit did that shit to Florida Man?
Yes, I do.
And I went on a crusade about, you're not going to cancel my friends. Okay. And Mike Barron has been on my show a few dozen times since then, because I won't let them do that to my friends. Now, Hart, you're one of my friends. I ain't letting them do that to you either, but my reach is only so big, but it's growing. Okay. But also, as we go forward with this other Roku channel, I'm going to make sure that you're getting seen on that one too, because that's, cross promotion is a good thing. Some American horror commercials over on the Madness Comic Network would always be cool.
we need some.
See what I'm
American
saying?
horror commercials. I'll run that.
For
I'll run that
me,
in every
it's
fucking show I got. Give me 30
this
seconds
is
left.
what I'm building, is that thing they can't shut down. That's what I'm trying to build. Just like
it really
you,
is.
right?
Like you guys having me on the show, and you guys, like us having an honest discussion, is what they're afraid of. It's part of why they hate Joe Rogan. They hate podcasting. They hate this. And it's why, like, YouTube has all these draconian rules about if you reference this, if you reference that. Well, YouTube, you're the biggest crook. You're a rapist. The people at YouTube, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Kindly, fuck you gently. But I want to hear you scream because you're a bunch of liars. Because one of the things YouTube does is, if your content, if you're a horror creator and your content isn't PG-13, you, the creator, is unable to monetize your work. But YouTube is still monetizing your work. So they're still taking money for you. They just said, you know what? If you're not PG-13, we're going to keep all the money. We're going to keep taking the money for you. And then it's their decision. So let's say you're super popular. Let's say you're making a ton of money. They will hit you on purpose so they can keep all your money and say you're not PG-13 because it's completely in their ball court.
Yep.
You feel me? And Amazon is perpetuating the same thing. I hate to say this. There's a filmmaker that I like here in Wisconsin. He's an independent filmmaker making these fun little horror films. Not like, they're not Saw. They're these goofy little horror films, and he's using local horror hosts and stuff. And Amazon just dumped his entire catalog after 7 years. They just dumped his entire thing. They just locked him out of the whole market. And I've heard that from a lot of my friends. So if people go, hey, Hart, why isn't your stuff on YouTube? Fuck you, YouTube. Suck my fucking cock, you censorious, murderous piece of shit. You fucking throw elections. You fucking censor people. You censor horror. You screw over creators. You screw over musicians. They do not give the bands and all these. They make a ton of money off all the videos, and the bands aren't making any money off it. A lot of the filmmakers from the American Horrors Film Festival have come out and said, hey, guys, if you want to help us, the filmmaker, buy my Blu-ray. Don't stream it on Netflix. Don't stream it on Tubi. Don't stream it. If you want to help me make more work, go buy the Blu-ray. And frankly, I found that a lot of these products, it's actually cheaper for me to go buy the Blu-ray than it is to go pay $6.99 on my VOD for Spectrum. And now these guys on these other streaming services have been jacking up their rates. And guys, you shouldn't have a high rate for your streaming because you have no physical product, you have no warehouse, you have no staff. You're greedy pricks. And that's why American Horrors is free. It's why the Big Book of Dahmer is affordable. Pops, I took your advice to heart, and I made sure that we had affordable digital downloads. I made sure that the 154-page trade paperback you could get if you contribute $135. You can, not 135, 35, sorry, $35. You can get that book. And there's going to be other extras because as we raise the bar, I'm going to throw more shit in there.
There you go.
It's kind of how I am.
All right. Hart, wrapping up here, I want to tell people, yes, the link to the Kickstarter, the Indiegogo, is right down there. Click on it. Throw money at this thing. Get this thing funded. Your last published work that was new, ish, In the Devil You Know Better. Pops, you got the hardcover there. That is out the door and done. We're done with that project. So.
I don't know if Hart's seen this particular edition of this or not.
Okay, so let me set this up here.
Okay.
So we crowdfunded this and we had a weird number. I was like, I'm not going to go print 11 copies. I said, I'm going to get 20 copies for all the authors that were involved. I'm going to get 1 copy for me. I'm going to get the ones that were crowdfunded out. And I'm going to print some extra. So we crowdfunded like 13. I'm like, I'm not going to say 1 of 13. I'm going to say 1 of 25. So we had 25. I'm going to take them to conventions. They're all got the signature plates for you and Mike Barron on them. And they're numbered at the bottom, 1 of 25. The author copies were written author copy underneath. And I had 1 left over because one author said, I can't have a book because it's about the devil, and the people that I live with, I'm assuming, still parents would have, She's like, so this author was like, please don't, thank you, but keep it. So I'm like, I got an extra book. So what do I number?
Brad Moore, I'm going to throw you under the bus, motherfucker. Yes, Brad Moore, fantastic artist. Brad, The Devil You Know Better, great book.
So this is a limited edition.
Oh wow. And I managed not to sign over Mike's stuff.
Look at that.
Dude, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to not your scrawl.
Hey, no, I should give you more space. But
I appreciate that. And it was pointed out to me that there's another signature in there too.
That's true, but that one's not.
There
important.
you go. All right, so
I'm thinking ahead now. So what am I going to do next? So I've got these mock-up little covers here. This one's, I'm thinking, I want to do an anthology, kind of like the Addams Family, the Munsters, but maybe more serious in tone, if you want to be, called The Monsters Next Door. And it's just, Dracula has a summer home All
right, well, a lot of people don't know that I'm an actual professional. So if you hire me to write a job, I write the job I'm paid for. And one of the things I got to do was I was part of a 4-issue miniseries through Chaos. And Brian, I got to, man, it was a dream come true. I'm a huge Rick Veitch fan. Rick Veitch is one of my favorite artists. All the stuff he did with Stephen Bissett, all the stuff he did on his own, I'm a big fan. And so Chaos hired me, I believe the title was Nightmare Theater. And Rick drew my story, and Thomas Yeats, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing his name, who's an amazing artist in his own right, inked the story. It was a fucking dream come true, and it was called The Vampire Hunters Club. Ooh. And I think that kind of story, because I wanted to expand on those characters, and I know that property has come back to me with the bankruptcy of Chaos.
Well, this is not comic book again. This is like because I don't want to get involved in publishing comic books. Fuck, that's too big a headache for me.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never written anything. I've never written any fiction. I've never written any poetry. It's not like Poems for the Dead was sold in Hot Topic in the mall. It's not like my poetry book Still Dead was sold in the mall at Hot Topic. Oh no, I don't know what you're talking about. It's not like I haven't announced this to the public, but I was contacted by the Louisiana State University. There's a project involving Todd McFarlane, and I am about to sign off on the contract to allow them to reprint some of my work in it.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Well, the next anthology will either be this or it will be navigation didn't work. It will be stories of time travel. One of the two.
Time in a bottle.
Yeah, I got some Jim Croce playing in my head on this one.
Oh,
By the way,
you
both
had
of
to
these
do that
covers.
to me, didn't you? Now it's gonna be in my head all night long.
Oh, I know. Both of these covers, the designer, me. I made both these covers.
Nice.
Okay, then I'm going to yell at you. Go back to the other one, Jagoff. Go back. Okay. You've got dark blue on green. It doesn't read. You got monsters on dark green and light green. Doesn't read. Hey, it's called a stroke. Oh, I'm sorry, an outline. If you took your logo there and you put a fat white stroke around the letters, it might work. But you can't use that dark fucking green on monsters. What the fuck is wrong with you? That should be like a brilliant orange or something that pops out. I'm thinking a lot of people go yellow, but I'm saying orange, Halloween orange, and you got to have a giant white stroke. Then you need another giant black stroke and a little tick off to the left and to the bottom and give it a fat shadow. And that girl's hair should pop the door logo, like it should pop into the door logo a little bit to give you a sense of space. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I a graphic designer? Oh, no.
No, you tell me what you look. All I did was say, hey, AI, draw this thing for me. And then I put it into PowerPoint and then I started.
No, your graphic design here is nothing to be proud of, bro. I mean, it's okay, but you need help. You need some help. And what is this pregnant monster with like a big turd coming out of her ass?
Don't know.
No, you need some help, bro.
Intelligence.
No, you need some help, bro. That looks like a monster standing on its left leg with a turd dripping out of its butt and a big monster like alien thing coming up. No, man, you need some help here.
Okay.
But RJ,
guess that means we're
I'm
going
your
here.
friend. I'm here to help you. It'll cost you no money. I'll give you a proper guidance.
I will take all the guidance I can get.
The Time in a Bottle is a much better design, but it still doesn't tell you what the fucking book's about.
How would you do that without changing the title?
It's real simple, guys. Poems for the Dead tells you what the fuck that book's about. Still Dead did not. What sold better? Poems for the Dead. Okay. Feeling me? Rush Limbaugh Must Die. Very simple title. Rush Limbaugh Must Die. What are you getting from that book? Well, somebody feels that Rush Limbaugh must die. Simple. I've been learning this, like as I've been going through time and going through marketing and going through advertising. Uh-oh, there goes my light.
Your light's gone.
Nah, it's because I let my laptop power off. Because we're coming to the end of the show.
Who's them? I didn't draw that shit.
Yeah, right?
So
fucking
so
scare
Time in a
me
Bottle
with
needs a
this fucking
subtitle.
turd.
Time in a Bottle needs a subtitle that says stories of.
I'm in a bottle as I talk about Jim Croce fingering my ass.
Oh,
I'm in a bottle as he massaged my prostate, Jim Croce.
Now look, Hart, I just want you to know, Oliver there in the 656 in the chat right there, he also, those guys do streams too. It's another whole different audience than ours.
Yeah,
Good.
Hey guys, I'm a bit of a whore. I'm a little bit of a media slut. I'll come on the show.
And they write books about monsters and horror. So, you know, yeah, you guys.
I mean, their books about cryptids.
Well, you know those dudes, and I think I shared their book. They had a campaign for Cryptid something, and I was sharing it on American Horrors and Boneyard Press.
There you go. See, Ollie, hook him up, dude. Get him out there on your show.
All right. Well, I'm going to get something to eat, and then I guess I have work to do. I'm not an artist. This was just my playing around.
Well, after you giving me all this advice on what you think I got to do to my campaign, I'm going to give my lady a hug, have another whiskey and Coke, and then I'm going to update that campaign.
All right.
I'm going to download this stream and play it on my channel.
Thank you, Pops.
About 8 different places.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much, dude. Thank you.
Get the word out on this, folks. If you're watching on the replay,
Pops,
get the link
somewhere when I meet you, free prostate massage.
Hey. She
I got
better
long
be
thumbs.
good looking.
I got long thumbs.
She better be good looking.
I'm good looking.
No,
I clean it nice.
no, she better be good looking.
All right.
After we talk about the gay serial killer cannibal book.
Yeah. Catch you all on the flip side, folks in chat. Thank you so much for being here. And as always, just hope you had a blast. Good night.
Peace.
Your favorite.
Hey, everybody, Dirk Manning here, the writer and creator of numerous comic books and graphic novels, including Nightmare World, Tales of Mystery, Brave But Not Dead, all kinds of stuff. And I am super excited for you because you are getting to watch right now, right this moment, out of all the things we're going to be doing, you're getting to enjoy and revel in the Madness Comic Network. And that is awesome. Thank you for being here.
How do you end this thing? How do you put the where's the brakes on this bus? I forgot.
Jazz hands. Jazz hands.
Have a good night.